I'm not late, I'm early. The start time was 11:15. Didn't you guys see? I hit the snooze button on stream starting. Wanted a little extra time to enjoy my coffee. What's up? Give me a fucking heart attack. Me when the streamer goes live at the scheduled time. Oh, my ulcer. What do you... Every goddamn time, man. You people are sick. Have you played Dispatch? No, I was going to, but then I saw Nintendo America in the localization of the Switch release, censored the pubic hair of a male character on the front and on the cover, and I decided that I didn't want to support that kind of censorship. Boycott? Boycott. Sans pussy bones? They're important. Danish PM Mette Frederiksen says an attack on Greenland would be the end of NATO. The way things are going right now, it wouldn't even be a fucking attack, man. It would just, like, happen, and nobody would do anything about it. You know what? Ending NATO would be amazing. At this point, like, NATO isn't even particularly America aligned. Well, no, that's a bit of an oversimplification. Right now, the way things are going, it seems more likely to me that America breaks out of NATO and NATO ends up being mostly a European military bloc, which would probably be good because that would mean there's a military bloc that can, like, you know, stand up to America, basically. It's so it's pretty bad right now. It's pretty bad. Well, the problem is US, not NATO. Well, NATO is also a problem, but America is more specifically a problem than NATO right now. Ay, ay. Yeah, America is problemer. I'm from Denmark. Tell me everything will be okay. Well, you're not in Greenland, are you? You'll probably be fine. All right, what is this? There was an attempt?
This is not just a foreign issue, it's our tax dollars that are also being used to commit these war crimes. It is also the duty of us, the people, to stand against the Trump regime, the Trump administration that are committing crimes both here in the U.S. and against people in Venezuela.
Now, in the background of this interview, you could see that police car. And now right here, we're showing you video we have immediately after the interview finished. Plickta was arrested by 2 Grand Rapids police officers. You can see it in the video, and an officer tells Plickta that she is being arrested for obstructing a roadway and failure to obey a lawful command from a police officer. You can see as she's taken away in that car, she was issuing a number of messages about wanting the U.S. to free Maduro. But again, she was taken away by police officers there, and you can see in this video, officers were closely following this procession in downtown Grand Rapids. We have reached out to GRPD for more information about the arrest, but we have not heard back so far.
I'm surprised they did this on camera, knowing how bad it makes them look.
Crimes both here in the U.S. and against people in Venezuela.
Of this interview, you could see that police car, and now right here we're showing you video we have immediately after the interview finished. Plickta was arrested by...
This is so embarrassing, man. Imagine being like a Grand Rapids police officer and you're putting your department potentially under fire or criticism to defend Trump from criticism over something you did in Venezuela. This isn't your fucking game, man. You're literally a beat cop in Grand Rapids, Michigan. What do you like? You're not a Secret Service agent. You're not a federal agent. This isn't your fucking like stay the fuck out. What are you doing? You know?
Two Grand Rapids police officers. You can see it in the video, and an officer tells Plickta that she is being arrested for obstructing a roadway and failure to obey a lawful command from a police officer. You can see as she's taken away in that car, she was issuing a number of messages about wanting the U.S. to free Maduro. But again, she was taken away by police officers there, and you can see in this video.
Yeah, so embarrassing to do this without being asked to. The Second Amendment is not going to stop you from this, Invich. That's the don't buy into the chud propaganda. The idea that like owning firearms is going to stop the creeping decay of our civil rights, you know? Owning firearms is for hunting and for getting back at your ex. It's not for no. It's not the Marxist dream of of like a proletariat uprising because everyone owns a fucking front-loading rifle is not applicable in the modern day. I just don't like the idea the Nazi degens are the only ones with guns. Yeah, well, yeah. I'm fine with. I advocate for gun ownership. It's just literally not going to do anything with like police brutality. It's not going to fix that problem. You know, it does nothing. I mean, if you want to own guns in case the country's civil society collapses entirely and everything turns into a Mad Max situation, then sure. But your 2A shit won't do anything against tanks. It's not about tanks. It's that like individual vigilantism can't do anything to repair a fraying social fabric. Like that's not the problem isn't that the military has bigger guns. It's that there's nothing people with guns could do. Like our civil rights and our labor rights have been getting eroded for half a century, you know, bit by bit. What has the incredible rate of firearm ownership in this country done to address any of it? It's not like it's only conservatives who own guns, you know. This country, if you only look at people left of center, this country still has like the highest gun ownership rate in the world. It just doesn't do anything. Oh, speaking of institutions being complicit with Trump, even though they don't really need to be, the BBC is restricting the language of its own journalists when covering the abduction of Maduro. BBC News editor sent this to their journalists. To ensure clarity and consistency in our reporting, please follow these guidelines when describing the recent events in Venezuela. Captured when referencing what the U.S. did to Maduro. Seized. Avoid using kidnapped. Clarity and consistency. Kidnapped is Trump approved, though? Yeah, Trump said kidnapping's not a bad word. Compliance in advance. Yeah, stuff like this really does make me think that Europe would just fold if we took Greenland. We wouldn't even, like, attack it. We would just send people over there and say, this is ours now. And then, like, what are they going to do? Hmm. Oh, we have military bases everywhere. Do you think America would attack Canada? Nah, probably not. All right, hold on. I'm never going to wake up unless we talk about it. We got him. We got Bin Laden or some shit.
Crazy or what?
Dressed, what was the tweet? He's been in Brooklyn for 4 hours. He's already dressed head to toe in Carhartt that's never seen a day's work. He's fucking huge, man. Look at him. Yeah, he's like 6'4". No wonder he became dictator. They have to bring his head down so his head doesn't get cut off by the fucking chopper. What's with the red? Is he wearing, like, galoshes? For narco-terrorism, gun trafficking, and cruelty to the Venezuelan people, we, the court, sentence you to 6,700 years. 6,700 years! Take these shirts off and say it again! Can we get that in Spanish? Hold on, 1 second. Translate to Spanish. 1 second. Hold on. Okay. But how do you say 6,000? Okay, what? 6,700. You can't just give me the numbers. Okay. 6,700 años. Quítate estas cadenas y repítelo. This is, uh,
6,700 años. Quítate estas cadenas y repítelo.
my delivery was better. Sorry. What is this referring to, chat? You don't know? You haven't seen the... No?
This court, you are hereby sentenced to 6,700 years in federal prison.
6,700 years! Take these straps off and say it again!
For all federal offenses listed, this court sentences you to 6,200 years in federal prison.
6,200 years! Take these chains off and say it again!
All charges brought before this court, you are hereby sentenced to 7,600 years in federal prison.
7,600 years! Remove these straps and say it again!
For all federal crimes presented to this court, you are sentenced to 7,100 years in federal prison.
The comedic element is enhanced greatly through the knowledge that for like at least 40% of the American electorate, like you could show them these videos and they would think it's real. You could say like this is a Tren de Aragua enforcer captured after the fall of Maduro's regime, and they would believe it. They think this is what the court is like. Like this is what the criminal element is like. Oh, these videos are why a stick of RAM is like $800 now. Worth it. Oh my god, sorry. Okay, so yeah, anyway, Maduro showed up in court. Oh my god. He showed up in court. He pled not guilty. God bless him. Maduro repeatedly asserts he is still leader of Venezuela. No? He says, I am a decent man, the president of my country. Man, I wish we had video. Man's just aura farming. He's a big guy, you know? That's why they had to sentence him to 6,700 years. Yeah, here's him and his wife. Jesus Christ, look at that. He's fucking massive, man. Are they giving him a lawyer? Yeah, of course. Everyone's entitled to a lawyer. Can't we just kill him? He's not going to get a fair trial. He might. He might. Yeah, look, again, totally, like, completely unprecedented situation here, you know? It's not impossible he gets off. Like, it's not likely, but it's not impossible. Apparently, he's friends with the judge. Judge Hellerstein, who is like 90 years old, by the way, greeted Maduro, good morning. Maduro gave him a nod and a wave in return. Hola. So they're getting along. They're fast friends. Unprecedented, the U.S. has been cooing Latin America for ages. Yeah, but usually when we do coups in Latin America, we just let the leaders we don't like rot in prison in their country, you know? And at least, and we can read up on this, man, but in Panama, right, when we intervened in Panama, which was a lot more justified than what's happening right now in Venezuela. Still bad, but more justified than what's happening right now in Venezuela. Like, there were much more direct crimes that we in U.S. court could hold him to, you know? But with Maduro, again, like conspiracy, narco trafficking, like just, I don't know. Keep in mind the DOJ has lost like basically every single lawsuit that it's brought, or not lawsuit, every court case it's brought, every indictment. It's just over and over and over and over again, they lose. It failed with James Comey. It failed with Letitia James. And those were two pretty big ones, pretty high profile ones. We know that Trump was mad that those were not proceeding at a sufficient pace. So we'll see. What happens when he gets out? He goes back to Venezuela and kills everyone? Well, no, if he gets out, then... okay, honestly, if he got out and then just went back to Venezuela and then went back to being the dictator, that would be the most classically, like, Latin America, junta, you know, kind of communist but not really leader thing to do. That would be so fitting. That would be perfect. That would be the Chauvinista. That'd be like the Castro. Then just like the confidence, you know. That's what I think of when I think of Latin American dictators. I think confidence. Okay. He talks about how nice visiting America was. Yeah, he talks about getting an all-expense-paid vacation to America, behest of, or courtesy of President Trump. That would be pretty fucking funny. Yeah. I never thought I'd get to see America. He showed me Brooklyn. He took me to New York. I had a hot dog. I had ice cream. Maybe he can get obsessed with ice cream like Castro, you know? He gets really into Carhartt. I mean, hey, so far so good on that one. Have you seen him getting arrested? I don't think it's actually Carhartt, but it sure looks like it. Maduro's attorney raises questions about the legality of the arrest. Attorney Barry J. Bullock. We know anything about this guy? Oh! A public defender. He is not. Who is Nicolas Maduro's lawyer? No, Barry Pollack and his famous wins, including Julian Assange's release. Yeah. I didn't know who his lawyer was. Okay. All right. Now we've got a case building here. Maduro's already on his way home. This is what I mean, man. In this weird, like, inconsistency. Trump violates the law, the Constitution, every single day, right? Insanely illegal shit every day. But somehow, like, we can do a regime change abroad, which the whole world condemns. And then, still, we can't really do a kangaroo trial. Like, we bring him back to the US, and Maduro's like, well, these are my rights now. I'm going to hire the best fucking lawyer in the world. Good luck. And it's like, what the hell? It's this weird... I guess it's kind of always been like this in America, because, like, in the 1920s and 30s, if you were an Irish cop in New York, you could just, like, kill black guys, basically. You could just, like, oi, I'm white. And then you'd, like, truncheon a black guy to death, and everyone would be like, oh. But then they couldn't get Al Capone. You know what I mean? Like, there's this weird inconsistency where there's this line, and below the line, infinite criminality is permitted. You can break any rule, and then above that line, everyone's hands are tied. They're like, oh shit, well, yeah, we can, like, break the law and violate people's rights and kill extrajudicially or whatever, but Al Capone, we can't just arrest Al Capone, even though we all know he's the guy. You know, you know what I mean? It's kind of like that. Yeah, we can do a regime change, but we can't just, you know, throw Maduro in a hole. Obviously, we have to let him get the best lawyer. Hoover could nab random leftists, but couldn't nab mob bosses. Yeah. Yeah, truly. I mean, I guess the recurring lesson here is just, like, money talks? I don't know. If you're powerful enough, like, the government has to take you seriously, no matter how much they don't want to. But they can't. But even in cases where it's not about money, like Kilmar Abrego Garcia, right? Like, the government has been losing in their battle to fuck his life up. They deport him illegally. They send him to CSOT, whatever, Kekot. They say you're never going to see him again. You're never going to see Kilmar Abrego Garcia. And then Senator Van Hollen goes down and sees him, and there's enough public pressure that the government actually brings him back into the U.S. Then they hold a press conference saying they're bringing charges against him. Immediately, it's like, oh, here we go. We're going to fucking deport you again for all these crimes. They failed to deport him to, like, 3 foreign countries he's never been to. And now it looks like his case is going to be thrown out because of prejudiced, prejudice on the part of the DOJ. So it's like, does the government have infinite power or not? Everything is grinding to a halt. I don't know. Yeah, they tried to send his ass to Eswatini. High chance Luigi will get a mistrial. That's not even a joke. Does that you all understand what I'm saying here, right? You understand the point of what I'm trying to, like, this incredible inconsistency in how exactly the government can break the rules. Trump can flagrantly break, like, the rules of the Constitution over and over. He might run for a 3rd term. Who knows, right? At this point, he just did a fucking regime change, you know? But Maduro gets his goddamn phone call. Very weird stuff. Very, very weird.
The breaking news as you're watching this helicopter make its way first time since the U.S. military operation that occurred in the early hours of Saturday morning in Caracas that then captured, detained, arrested, and now it has indicted the former Venezuelan.
Everyone's super bored and not willing to take real risks. I think that's also one of the reasons I think this is so amusing. It's because Maduro is a person from a world where you did actually have to take risks, right? Like, Trump and everyone around him, as much as they fantasize about being warriors for the Fourth Reich, are massive pussies who would bail out on this project if they thought there was any threat to their well-being. Like, all of them have one foot in the door. But from on Maduro's side, like, Maduro, along with the people around him, always risking it all to get what they got.
And his wife, Celia Flores. Let's keep an eye on this.
Maduro has street smarts, at least more than Assad. Oh, Assad has always been a massive fucking failure. The only reason Assad Jr., I should say, the only reason Assad Jr. was able to hold Syria together for as long as he did was because of Russia. That's it. That's the reason why things fell apart like that quickly as soon as they did. He had as much legitimate control over Syria as, like, the ANA did over Afghanistan, just like that. fucking pathetic, really. Al-Jilani seems to be much more competent, though I don't know if it's going to save him.
You this.
The thing that pisses me off about the Carhartt love is like, guys, the reason you all like Carhartt is because you're not used to wearing real heavy cotton fabrics. That's it. Jeans used to feel like this, and now they don't because they're all made out of spandex or whatever. Like the cool, like authentic feel you get for Carhartt, the fact that it takes a while to break in, you're literally just wearing clothes the way they were made for like 200 years, basically. That's just how it all was. Like, that's just how durable clothing was built. Like, all clothing could be more like this if you wanted it to be. 200? Well, you go back far enough, and like heavy duty workwear wasn't really a thing. Not in the same way it is today. Good as it used to be.
Is going to be heading right now. Omar Jimenez is standing by, watching this along with us. Omar, it's a pretty remarkable.
Fuck! They were like, hold on, we're getting mogs. Get that 6'5" soldier. I don't know what branch this is. Bring fucking Jose over here, okay? We need one guy who's taller than him.
Thing to see as he's making his way towards where you are right
DEA?
now.
Okay, DEA. Oh yeah, I see the jacket.
Yeah, and the preparations for this have really been noticeable.
Now I clearly see that it's DEA, and I feel a bit silly for saying I didn't know. But this was in the future, and that was in the past, okay?
House waiting to go in once those doors actually open. And as you see some of those images, I mean, you see Nicolas Maduro. You and I talked about
what's his wife charged with. His wife was complicit in a lot of the stuff the regime did. My understanding, like his wife wasn't just like a trophy wife who would sit by his throne and suck his dick or whatever. I'm pretty sure that she was actually a decision maker in some capacity, though obviously not to the same extent. Not to say it's legitimate seizure, but
just how quickly things change.
The fact that they're both wealthy. Does Maduro even have any like pedophilia accusations against him? Most dictators are pedophiles, right? For the same reason that most billionaires are pedophiles. Is there anything on Maduro on that one? Because if so, I haven't heard of it. It wouldn't surprise me.
Hundreds of tons of importation of cocaine and things of that nature. And so just to see how this has developed
He's a wife guy.
Over the last...
Isn't that a big Latin thing? Am I stereotyping? I've always kind of figured. I mean, I think there's some truth to this just in like current polling, but like Latin America is a pretty feminist and LGBT plus positive place, I think, like relative to the level of socioeconomic development in those countries. Like Mexico is super gay and trans friendly, right? Like more so than America. Brazil as well. And I think there's a lot of that, like not everywhere, like not in the pits of Central America or whatever, maybe, but I think there is a lot of that. I don't know. Whenever I think of like, when I think Latin American dictator, I think girl boss wife. Maybe that's not founded by anything. Like, if I thought Middle Eastern dictator, I do not think girl boss wife. If I think African dictator, I do not think girl boss wife. If I think Southeast Asian dictator, I do not think girl boss wife. But if I think Latin American dictator, I don't know. Maybe like, maybe girl boss wife. The only country where being gay is illegal in South America is Guyana. Really? Just Guyana? And that's got to just be on paper, right? Because Guyana is not I'm pretty sure you could like be gay in Guyana and be fine. I wish that was true, but if I recall correctly, Brazil is the country that kills the most trans people. Okay, fair, but like, is it possible that Brazil just like that number is influenced by the fact that there are tons of trans people in Brazil and also the government keeps track of that? Because I bet you the number of trans people killed in, like, South Sudan is 0 every year, if you know what I mean, right? I don't know. Nah.
Few days. And, I heard you all talking about sort of the mode of transportation and sort of taking the helicopter over the water as opposed to taking the bridge. That was something that we actually noticed Saturday night as well, where...
Yeah, there's no denying that the Americas are relatively LGBT friendly here, right? So everything dark blue recognizes gay marriage. Light blue, that's Bolivia, right? Sorry for my ignorance. Civil unions. So what's gray? No data? There can't be no data here in fucking Venezuela. No data? Same-sex intercourse legal recognize of unions. Wait, same-sex intercourse legal recognition of unions. Oh, okay. No recognition of civil unions, but same-sex intercourse is legal. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. So yeah, it's yellow right here. That's Guyana, right? Yeah, that's Guyana. Prison not enforced. So yeah, that's the only place in like Latin America where there's any. Wow, Iran is death crazy. Yeah, oh yeah, they'll kill you in Iran for being gay. I don't think it happens that often though, because it's like it's a chilling effect thing, and it's French. That is true. Guyana is not Latin American. It's South American, but not Latin American. Argentina is more pro-gay than America, according to Pew. I've talked to Argentinians online, and that tracks with my experience. Doesn't Mexico have, like, an insane number of gay and trans people? Like, the percentage of the Mexican population that's LGBT is like 12% or something. Some insane number like that. Yeah, Argentina's up there with, it's higher than the United States. It's very interesting. Very interesting. It's also really difficult to like, it's so difficult to boil this down to a simple question. It's like if you ask an American if they support free healthcare for all versus do you support, or it's like, do you support Obamacare versus do you support the Affordable Care Act versus do you support like Medicaid subsidies or whatever. People give you wildly different answers depending on how things are phrased. I'm pretty sure that in a lot of the world, they're homophobic, but also they get silly with it. And if you call what they do gay, they'll get mad at you. But it is. And I don't mean just like men hand-holding or whatever. I mean that like in some countries, if you say like a person who is gay, they think of like a person in a committed homosexual relationship. But a lot of the people who are homophobic towards that have had sex with men or fooled around with guys, and they like it, and they would even defend it. But they don't consider that gay for the same reason that we wouldn't consider it gay, I guess, to like wrestle with the boys or whatever. Like there's a different threshold. What, really? Yeah, I'm oversimplifying it, but I guess the point that I'm trying to make is like there's enough of a variety in how people perceive like the boundary for what it means to be gay that you get like cope answers, basically. The distinction there is the traditional passive active dynamic. Yeah. Like there are a bunch of countries where it's much more socially frowned upon to be the bottom than the top. So you will have guys who are like, yeah, I'm straight, but they will fuck men. And that'll just be like kind of accepted. Or maybe they won't talk about it, but it's like, you know, whatever, they do it. But the gay people are the ones who bottom. You get what I mean? Ancient Greece? No, dude, that happens today. That's like pretty common today. That logic is even present in America, man. Like people absolutely today 100% would argue that it is gayer to get fucked by a guy than to fuck a guy. I would argue that. Everyone thinks that. It's just like whether or not, because but if you sat me down for a survey and you were like, well, does this count as being gay, fucking another guy? I'd be like, yeah, probably, you know, but some people would go, eh. Colonizations also led to many of those numbers. Was it the Philippines or Indonesia where before the Spanish colonization they were a lot more accepting of queer people, including like third gender people or whatever? Remember, there's that one thing that like the trans women and the femboys always post on Twitter where they're like return with a V, and it's like a historical excerpt where they talk about Thailand? No, not Thailand. Is it the Philippines? Okay, well, the Philippines is pretty queer friendly now, at least judging by this. So Thailand was never colonized, I don't think. Well, anyway, sorry. This is like not really relevant to Maduro getting arraigned in court.
traffic would have been much lighter. And when they landed on the western part of Manhattan, rather than just driving, they took the helicopter across the water as well. But again, critically,
okay, last thing. In Turkey, you can serve in the military if you're a top but not a bottom. They get a doctor to inspect whether you're a top or a bottom. Is that real? That sounds like something Turkey would do. And I bet you when the doctor takes the survey, the doctor's like, yeah, my job is to inspect guys' buttholes, and I love it. No, I'm not gay.
For them by ground to arrive here at this courthouse to begin this next stage, Kate.
Absolutely, Omar. And we're so thankful that you're there watching it all play out. To track this was that they're now back into another armored vehicle and will be leaving the heliport shortly, heading out with that caravan, you would assume, headed right to where Omar Jimenez is at that federal courthouse.
Thank you, Kay. Joining us now, CNN political and global affairs commentator Sabrina Singh. Also with us, CNN national security analyst Alex Plitzis. I'm going to start with you, Alex. You have gotten some new details about him heading towards his first appearance.
That's a video.
In a Manhattan court. What have you learned?
So in speaking to CIA and Department of Defense officials over the weekend and then coming into this morning, this was the culmination of months of preparation and training. So it's clear the decision to do this, or at least be prepared for it, was made many months ago. There was a full mock-up facility that was built, very similar to what was done for the bin Laden raid that was trained on for months by the Army's Delta Force, along with members of the FBI hostage recovery team, who augmented the military because this was a law enforcement operation where they ended up arresting and extracting Maduro. There's some contention.
Killed 80 people, including civilians. Alive was a precondition agreed upon with or insisted upon by the narco generals. You know? Like, I wonder if they said, we'll let you have Maduro, we'll loosen security, we won't fire AA or whatever at your helicopters, you can have him, but he has to live. You can't kill him. That would make sense. It's generally a bad idea to kill the captured opposition leader if you intend on running the place and not just dipping immediately after. You lose a lot of leverage and you lose a lot of perceived legitimacy. Yeah, you really don't want to martyr him. And holy shit, killing Maduro would martyr him so fucking hard, you know? I'm still confused why the generals would be involved and not the VP when the generals immediately ceded power to the VP. Well, keep in mind, I don't know that. That was only a guess of mine. Somebody just posted a link saying the VP looks like she was in on it. But my theory on that would be that they knew the VP was too goody two-shoes, basically, to collude in the abduction of Maduro, but they trust her to run the country well enough, and they wouldn't want, and they could gain, like, favor and power within the government under her as opposed to Maduro. Like, the generals that run the country probably would be reined in a lot more by Maduro than they would be by her. So by allowing her to be president, they basically get more power. But somebody just linked something saying the VP was apparently a CIA source. The U.S. operation to capture Maduro the weekend and spirit him out of Venezuela left in charge Delcy Rodriguez. Rodriguez, a canny political operator, was envisaged as head of a transitional government in secret talks that her politician brother Jorge led with Washington last year about a post-Maduro future, said two people familiar with discussions. At the time, the negotiations had involved Maduro safely going into exile. That's interesting. I'm not entirely sure what to make of that. What's the source? Well, the yellow background here tells me, isn't the Seraphint? What's the name of the news site that has the yellow background? Seraphant, this is from the Financial Times. Okay, that it can be trusted, probably. Financial Times. Semaphore, that's what I was thinking. Semaphore. But this is FT. Semaphore is a darker yellow, I'm pretty sure. FT is trustworthy. This is a very interesting bit of information. I don't actually know whether or not this implicates her, though. I would have to think about it. It kind of depends on details we don't have. Like, okay, keep in mind, never forget this. No matter what America did, like morally, legally, whatever, Maduro is a really bad guy. If the VP was colluding to have him ousted so she could take power, that might actually be a utilitarian, like that might be a good, you know? Even if she thought it was necessary to do this in collaboration with the United States, it's possible she thought that was a worthwhile move to make. It's difficult to overstate how bad Maduro has been for Venezuela. The population of the country has plummeted from people fleeing. It's like a borderline failed state. That being said, just because she was okay with Maduro being forced into safe exile doesn't necessarily mean she'd be okay with the U.S. Extracting him. Those are very different, right? Because in one case, it's just her taking the reins after Maduro's forced out by presumably popular will, versus the U.S. just directly imposing their power. So it seems complicated. Seems complicated. If the generals were on board, why would they need America? This one's easy. Because they think that getting rid of Maduro and doing so in a way that America is happy with would take American pressure off Maduro and lessen sanctions. Keep in mind, like, Venezuela is fucked economically because of America. It's if they thought they could oust Maduro in a way that would appease America to the point that those sanctions would be lifted, that would probably make them happy. That being said, it doesn't seem like sanctions are getting lifted, so
in the last 24 hours about what his plans are for Venezuela as we watch these historic pictures of the former president of Venezuela being taken into U.S. custody, taken to court on a myriad of charges. And the president has said that the United States will run Venezuela. He's been asked that over and over, and his answer has been consistent. So what would it take for the United States to actually run Venezuela when you consider all the complications going on?
I hear. Sorry, I just want to reiterate, like, potential reasons why the VP, Rodriguez, would want to oust Maduro. Look at this, man. The population graph for Venezuela. Under Maduro's rule, like, so many people have left that it's like not only flatlined but dropped the country's population graph. That's really bad, like really, really bad. So you know, this is why we have a fair amount of Venezuelans in the country. By the way, it's the reason why they've been singled out by Trump. It used to be just Mexicans, but like Mexico isn't that poor of a country anymore. Not most of it, at least. You know, Venezuela is. So they've been disproportionately represented in the refugees and so on. It's probably worse than that. Yeah, maybe.
On there right now.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. I think to put things in perspective, I mean, Venezuela is about twice the size of California or even Iraq. So to run a country with 30 million people, and Donald Trump says that we are running Venezuela, that I think there are a lot of outstanding questions. And I hope that members of Congress on both sides of the aisle are pressing this administration for more details, because if we are, quote, running Venezuela, that is going to entail putting some type of military assets on the ground. And you heard,
I still don't think we are. I still think that Trump is lying when he says we're running Venezuela. I think that was what why am I blanking? Come on, Secretary of State. Rubio, yeah. God, my memory is bad. I think that's what Rubio's told him in an effort to appeal to him. I think this is all Rubio's plan. I do not think we actually directly control Venezuela. I just think that Trump would want to believe that we are.
Yesterday, President Trump saying that we're going to extract the wealth from Venezuela from the oil fields.
I do think we're going to try to do that.
Companies are going to go into Venezuela and start extracting oil. These oil fields are also going to have to be secured. So again, I have so many questions on what it means that we're running Venezuela, what that means for our military buildup outside the coast of Venezuela. That's obviously putting incredible strain on our military force and frankly, our readiness. But I think also to the larger point that the president was making on Air Force One yesterday, it seems like we're not stopping at Venezuela. It seems like, you know, he has his sights potentially set on Colombia, Cuba, and of course, we've obviously heard about Greenland. So I think the question, you know, members of Congress and frankly, the president's base also need to be asking is, how does this fit into the America First agenda that he ran on, you know, in the 2024 election? Because we are now getting into the business of nation building, something that the president was, you know, pretty much against for the entire election season. So
it doesn't matter. They're just entertained by the keys jangling. But again, like, it's not even going to enrich us, man. Look at this snippet from an article. From what article? If I was good at my job, I would know. But people in the oil industry said the administration's message has left them still leery about the difficulty of rebuilding decayed oil fields in a country where it's not even clear who will lead the country for the foreseeable future. They're saying, you gotta go in if you want to play and get reimbursed, said one industry official familiar with the conversations. The offer has been on the table for the last 10 days, the person said, but the infrastructure currently there is so dilapidated no one at these companies can adequately assess what's needed to make it operable. Remember, these oil companies were informed about the regime change before Congress was. They were the only ones briefed outside the Trump administration. And still, they're like, Remember how I've been saying for a while now that the main problem with our economy is that it's easier to make money through financial games than it is to actually make anything? Why would you ever want to risk billions of dollars building and then securing oil extraction in an unstable country? We're tens of billions doing this. Massive risk. When you could make much more money just borrowing money than investing it. Especially when we all know the interest rates are going to go down. Borrowing money is going to get even cheaper in the future. Pretty soon, Jeremy Powell's going to be out. And Trump's going to put some fucking retard in charge of the Fed who's going to drop the interest rates to negative 0.025% or whatever. Why build anything? It's from Politico? Gotcha. Ridiculous, really. How bad would 0% rates be? Apocalyptic. "32 of 80 fatalities on Venezuelan side were Cuban security detail for Maduro. If it was an inside job, the Cubans couldn't be turned and were eliminated by American special forces." Fuck, do you think they were killed by Maduro's security? 32 Cubans killed with no American casualties? This sounds to me like Venezuelans turned on them. That might have been part of the extraction deal. We made a deal with the generals. The generals were like, yeah, we can't convince the Cubans to side with this, so we're just going to kill them like while you're on your way in. The only people able to investigate these deaths are the Venezuelan government, i.e. the people who would have made that deal. So it is very possible they just turned on them. It's not like the Venezuelan generals give a fuck about Cuba, you know? Poor guys. The only reason we did this regime change is because we want regime change in Cuba. Not the only reason, but it's a big part of it. But man, if that's true, though, if that's true, that, like, no deal could be reached with the Cubans and they had to be killed in order to make this move, that really reinforces the idea that it would be fucking difficult to do this in Cuba. You know? Average Venezuelan bodyguard, I was given, 10 pesos by the general who gives me orders to look the other way today. Oh, I hear shooting. I'm going to go use the bathroom for 20 minutes or whatever. Average Cuban bodyguard, like, looks up from a little Red Book reading sesh to see American Special Forces storming the city. Immediately, like, rips shirt apart to reveal bandolier, but gets shot in the back of the head by narco terrorists behind him. I don't know, I saw a tweet saying one of the Cubans was a Wagner mercenary. They might not all be innocent. I didn't say they were innocent, man. They were bodyguards for Maduro. They were probably, like, killing and raping people. You gotta focus on the words I say and not the words that I don't, okay? If I meant innocent, I would say innocent. Narco-terrorist isn't even a real term. Well, it goes hard, though. Like, it does sound cool.
Have a lot of outstanding questions on what it means for Venezuela, but also the Western Hemisphere more broadly.
Yeah, and again, I just want to mention the pictures we've been watching as the former president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, is being taken to a court in Manhattan for his first appearance alongside his wife, Celia Flores. Alex, from your standpoint, you talked about the intricacies that you've just brought us new details about the intricacies of how they were able to extract both Maduro and his wife. And now you're hearing the president again reiterate that they are talking about running the country. From a national security standpoint, what position does this put the United States in right now?
It's still a little bit of an uncertain one. I mean,
What does
we can
Rubio
sort
want
of
to do with
derive
Cuba?
a little bit more
Teabag it?
detail from some of the actions that speak to things that were unsaid by the president for what the future looks like. As Sabrina just mentioned, you know, the military footprint, what does that mean for the military running the country, et cetera. So first part for running the country, what we've heard over the last couple of days was the president was asked about the opposition leader Machado, could she take over? And he said, look, she doesn't have the credibility inside the country, et cetera. And he also followed up with, well, Venezuela has a vice president. Very quickly thereafter, within hours, the Venezuelan vice president
I really wish the Cuban government didn't suck. It would make it so much easier not only to defend them, but also for them to defend themselves from what's coming.
Out and said, look, we're not in support of this. You need to return Maduro. We'll defend the country, which didn't exactly make it sound like there was some sort of coordination ahead of time, which meant, OK, so what was the plan afterwards? It seems that the U.S. very clearly had no intention of going in. There was a third of the U.S. deployed Navy off the coast. Only 2,000 Marines, though, in a Marine Expeditionary Unit. That's an insufficient force to take and hold Caracas, let alone the whole country. So it seemed it was.
You're kind of doing American imperialist talking points here. OK, what did I say that is American imperialist? Oh, because I said the term narco-terrorist has aura? Really? That's the position you're taking? Goes hard? That's the...
Targeted strikes, take out the air defense sites, insert the force, which, by the way, they made look easy, but several members were shot and the helicopters took a lot of fire coming in. It was actually pretty remarkable that they made it out okay and no one was killed. So at that point, it was up to whoever was going to step up to the microphone and say they were going to lead, and then the president was going to deal with what was left. So there was a quick change in tone last night where the vice president said, okay, we're willing to work with the U.S. on an agenda, which could be a potential off-ramp for additional military action. But if they don't cooperate, the president's made it clear, CIA and DOD officials made it clear to me, there is definitely a second wave planned, and if Venezuelan officials do not cooperate, that is on the table for the president.
Yeah, well, good luck to them. Anyway, yeah, Maduro pled not guilty. We'll see how his fucking trial goes. The fact that he's represented by the guy who got Assange out is a pretty good sign. To be clear, like, as evil as Maduro is, I want him to win this case for reasons that should be pretty obvious. Like, this is an illegal kidnapping. I think that America is the great Satan. We are the source of all evil on Earth. We are the root of it, and we need to be defeated at all costs. So, you know, any victory on that front is a victory for the American people and for the people of the world. If he wins the case, though, what the fuck will happen then? They deliver Maduro back? I guess so. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? The UN had an emergency security council meeting. 1 second.
Mr. President, thank you for chairing. And I particularly want to thank you,
suit sleeves are too tight,
Mr. Freitas, for your briefing. And I'll point out that Mr. Freitas is in exile, having fled the regime. Thank you for your courage, and thank you for shedding a light on the true atrocities of the illegitimate Maduro regime. This past weekend, colleagues, the United States successfully carried out a surgical law enforcement operation facilitated by the U.S. military against two indicted fugitives of American justice, narco-terrorist Nicolas Maduro and Celia Flores. Colleagues, Nicolas Maduro is responsible for attacks on the people of the United States, for destabilizing the Western Hemisphere, and illegitimately repressing the people of Venezuela. As Secretary Rubio has said, there is no war against Venezuela or its people. We are not occupying a country. This,
contrary to the direct and repeated statements of the President of the United States, right?
Was a law enforcement operation in furtherance of lawful indictments that have existed for decades. The United States arrested a narco trafficker who is now going to stand trial in the United States in accordance with the rule of law for the crimes he's committed against our people for 15 years. A similar action was taken in 1989 against Manuel Noriega. He was arrested, indicted, convicted in a court of law, served.
This is boring as shit. Yeah, sorry. I don't know why I expected to get anything more from the American UN brief. Obviously, it's just going to be a repeat, though he doesn't even want to own the president's statements on this, you know?
President of Venezuela calling for to take wire who also addressed direct indictments this game or as well.
I wish they let cameras in there. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. Turning to more positive news for the first time in a while. Oh, hold on. Actually, this live stream just went on. Zohran Mamdani joins Governor Hochul to make a transportation announcement. Please.
Serious? And State of New York, Governor Kathy Hochul.
I'll preempt this live stream and whatever its contents are because I don't know what it's going to be about. With this, apparently Mamdani, for the first time in 500,000 years, has shut down overnight subway service in NYC to clean it. Isn't that crazy? Wait, it's not clean much? Have you been on the MTA? I have. I went there for a week. There's a community note on that. No, is it fake? I don't see a community note. Oh, wait, is this fake? Is it not actually been 115 years? This is from COVID? No! Fake news. Fake lefty news. Fake streamer. Is this live stream even real? Is this fake? Is this from COVID?
Good afternoon.
This is from Syria. This is from the Syrian civil war.
Warriors. We're winning this battle 1 year into it, and I could not be prouder to be surrounded.
I don't give a fuck about you, lady.
That day that I believe triggered the No Kings rallies all across America. So we stood up here in New York. We showed who we are. And yes, the cameras are staying on. But now, my friends, the results are extraordinary, beyond what we could have expected.
The congestion pricing has been like a massive success. I saw a chart that I'm pretty sure wasn't AI earlier today. Apparently, it's led to as much as a 50% decrease in travel times in some parts of NYC. Like, just remarkable
and I am
benefits.
so proud to run through some of these for you, because you should just be saying them in your sleep. And if there's any...
Yeah, here we go, sorry. Change in average speed during weekday morning commute. 29% faster on Queensboro Bridge, 18 in the Queens Midtown Tunnel, 28 in the Williamsburg Bridge, 7% on the Manhattan Bridge, 15% Brooklyn Bridge, 10.8% Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, 51% Holland Tunnel. That is fucking crazy. Look, all I can say is that I'd only been to New York once in my life, like meaningfully, like I'd only been to Manhattan once in my life. And it was after the congestion pricing change, and I was down in Lower Manhattan. I was walking all up and down the place. Traffic was not that bad. It just wasn't. My impression of New York City would be like everyone's honking and the taxis are all backed up and it's a constant wall of cars. And it wasn't. It just wasn't. It wasn't even like crazy loud. It was less loud than Los Angeles. I was walking there.
Naysayers out there, tell me who they are and we'll have a conversation. I'll meet you at my local diner. Because we took on. No, it's all right. I talked to everybody. Talk to everybody. You know that. We said, enough with gridlock. It must end. Enough with emergency vehicles being stuck in traffic. That must end. Enough with wasting people's valuable time away from their families and their jobs and everything else they want to do in New York. Just have a good time. And enough with polluting our air with all the emissions. And enough with underfunding the transit system that is the lifeline of this entire region. So we got it done. We changed how people in this great city and the region live, how they
I know it
breathe,
seems stupid and kind of unrelated, but to me, stuff like this is the antidote to Trump and the antidote to the decay of our civilization, which is being facilitated by not just Trump, but also the attitudes that led to Trump. You have to remind people that government can actually make things better in your life. Like the cynicism and the rot, the belief that the only thing the government can do is steal your money and waste it. Like this contributes to the culture that produces people like Trump, you know? This is an antidote. You have to believe in something in order to defeat other people who believe in something. And the stuff the other people believe in is evil.
how they act. And now the results are in. Traffic entering the congestion zone is down 11%. And this is incredible. 27 million fewer cars going into that zone over the last year. 27 million. And the air is cleaner. Pollution is down more than 20% in 1 year. People with asthma are breathing better. Little kids don't have to worry about this. And our streets are safer. New York City recorded its safest streets in history. That's a long time. With crashes and injuries down in the congestion zone. And everybody who told me from the president on down, you're killing New York City, nobody's going to come, you know, traffic's down because the place is empty, no one's there. It's like, seriously?
With time saves like this, I'm going to come.
Because Manhattan, it's had some of its best years, the best year for Broadway. Everybody, sales tax receipts in the area that people said would be killed by this.
To further that point on, like, opposing Trump, remember, Trump specifically said he would shut down congestion pricing, and he has completely dropped that issue. And I really think the reason why is because it's been popular and effective, you know? Trump is bullheaded and does lots of dumb stuff, but he's also, well, for one, he's a New Yorker, but he's also, like, aware enough of the public mood, of the zeitgeist. I think he knows which battles to pick and choose. Sometimes. He tries to. He might also just be more sensitive to the opinions of New Yorkers. In the past, he's indicated that he is. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like, man, you can do good things. You can believe in good things and do good things and apply good changes, and people will believe in them.
Are up 6%. I mean, people are still coming. They're still shopping. They're still spending money. And best year for office leasing. So all the doomsayers said people are going to leave Manhattan and there'll be all these buildings that are empty. Best year for online leasing in 20 years, leading the nation.
Thoughts on New Jersey doing a toll to NY fans coming to the World Cup finals? Spiteful, but I don't really give a shit. Also, what? Seriously, is she going to set up infrastructure for congestion pricing that's only supposed to last for a single event? Stupid. Low IQ. Like, what? It's supposed to be like an epic own. Like, sure, spend fucking $200 million setting up the fares and cameras and pricing and systems and the website that you need to handle everything, and just to, you know, scrape a couple of bucks together. Fuck you. Wasn't Kathy Hochul one of the opponents of congestion pricing? She's come around on a lot of issues. I think that Kathy Hochul has demonstrated that she's pretty receptive to what Mamdani is bringing, what he's pushing for. She's, you know, she flows with the wind a little bit, but...
So, we're moving. Speeds are up. Buses are faster. Transit ridership is up in the zone as well. But guess what? We gave you some time back. How does 25% faster coming through the Lincoln Tunnel sound? Oh, let me top that. How about 51% faster coming through the Holland Tunnel?
That is
about
insane.
25% faster going across our bridges into Brooklyn and Queens. That's time in your life that's precious. And I don't think anyone could have predicted that before congestion pricing, about 117 hours were lost commuting for New Yorkers, just stuck in traffic, 5 solid days out of your life, and now we have more time. How's it feel, everybody? Feel good to have time, right? Feels good? Feels good. Keep it focused on what's important. And I want to give a tribute, a shout out to all the true believers who decades ago talked about this. And some are not with us here today, some have passed on. But let's reflect on what it takes sometimes to get something done. Shouldn't take that long, but those who never gave up believing, they never gave up believing. I remember Dan Doctoroff talking about this a long time ago. I remember Kathy Wild has been talking about this a long score.
Move it along, lady. There's a guy I want to listen to.
Projects. Now, when I first became governor, no offense to you, but fantastic.
Something that feels too rare.
Got us to the finish
There
line.
we go.
Let me welcome another dreamer, a big audacious thinker, someone that we're so proud to work with over the next 4 years, and that is our mayor.
The guy on the right is the highest waisted pants I've seen in years. Actually, yeah, he is wearing high waisted pants. He looks good. See, nice proportions. Tie comes right down to the navel. If he buttoned his jacket, you wouldn't see any of the shirt poking out underneath the buttoning point.
Donnie.
Looks good.
Can we hear it for our governor, Kathy Hochul? Today, as we gather to mark a year of congestion pricing, we are also celebrating something that feels too rare.
Can you comment on these reports that Mamdani raised bus fares instead of making them free? He's been mayor for 5 days, and the bus fare raise was law implemented before Mamdani became mayor. The bus fare price ticking up was cemented in like this would have to go through city council. Yeah, Adams did this.
Politics these days. And that is the change that can come when government dares to do big things. And we measure these things in statistics, and sometimes we lose sight of what it means in the lives of each and every New Yorker. Before I stood before you now as the mayor of New York City, I was an assembly member for Astoria in Queens. And in Astoria, there are many children who grew up with asthma, living close to what was described as Asthma Alley. And when I first became the assembly member, one of my staff members told me that one of the activities she recalled growing up in the neighborhood was at recess asking other students to compare and contrast their inhalers. That is the way in which this kind of pollution had been and has been normalized. And so, as we are here celebrating these cameras staying on, thanks to the governor's commitment despite tremendous pressure, we also celebrate what this has meant for New Yorkers, whether they are driving, whether they are biking, whether they are walking, taking a bus, taking the train, whether they are just breathing the air in the city that they call home. Because this is a program that has been successful no matter how you measure it. It's been a program if you want to measure it in noise complaints or you want to measure it in traffic. That is how it has been successful. And what we are seeing is that it is outstripping even the fiscal projections of what it would raise in a calendar year. We were anticipating that the first year would yield $500 million, and there were concerns of, was that possible to hit? And what we found instead is that this program in a calendar year has now raised close to $550 million.
God damn. That's so much.
And I want to celebrate this especially because what the governor said is so critical. For a long time, we have asked the MTA to do the impossible without providing them with the funding that would even make it something they could consider. And what this program has done is commit funding to the very capital needs that have been put off for years, if not decades. And that is funding, those are investments that can transform the day-to-day realities of a New Yorker. And so as we celebrate the increase in transit ridership, we know that that increase could grow even further in the years to come as more and more money can be then spent on the infrastructure that would make that commute smoother, make it faster, make it more reliable. And I have to say thank you to all of the elected officials who stand here, whether at the city level, at the state level, the activists, the organizers, the advocates who ensured that no matter what day it was, no matter what week it was, no matter what year it was, we all understood the imperative of dreaming of a different kind of streetscape in this city. And I was reading an article today about a driver from New Jersey who had self-identified as someone who was critical of the program. And he said, look, for all the $9 I'm spending, I'm now actually saving money I would have been spending on parking fees because I can now park on the street. And this is something that no matter...
Not to mention the time you save. It like Holland Tunnel, you get through it twice as fast. Not to mention the gas that you burn, like being stuck in traffic. You burn a ton of gas just idling in traffic, stopping and starting. Seriously, just it's such good policy. It's such good policy. It's so good, I can't believe we did it. Like it feels too good for America. Like this isn't the kind of policy that you should be able to do here. This is like a Dutch thing or something.
Which way you're approaching it from, we can see the success. And that is what we are here to celebrate, that success, that foundation, and that dream of a city that recognizes the importance of public transit as the vitality of what makes this city so great. Thank you so much. And now, our MTA Chair and CEO, Dano Liebert.
Ah, now we know who he is.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you for your constant partnership, your support, and I'm thrilled.
Raise
to
the
be
mic,
joined by
man. You're
Mayor
really tall.
Madani, who was a strong supporter of transit, in case you didn't know, for a long, long time, and is really somebody that we look forward to working with. Governor, it's the YMCA, so I was sort of hoping that the president would roll in here doing his YMCA dance in support of congestion pricing, but I guess I'm going to have to wait to see whether he does it when we go to court.
You got to raise the mic up, man.
The system, record on-time performance.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it is my pleasure to introduce the RPA's leader.
Get it passed, and the governor's leadership really led the way. So if you're part of the Congestion Pricing Now Coalition, I want you to raise a round of applause for yourself and for our leaders here who were so steadfast in getting this done. By every calculation, congestion pricing is a tremendous success. It has reduced traffic, increased transit ridership, and made streets safe in Jersey.
Honestly, if we're going to hear about the successes of the program, Noble Stalwart Chatter gifted me this article. Since congestion pricing began 1 year ago, about 11% of the vehicles that once entered Manhattan's Central Business District daily have disappeared. They're dead. They're fucking dead. 27 million fewer car trips. Ah, well, that's where that came from. How nice. Changes in bus speeds. Minimal, but still good. Yes, but what does New Jersey think? Has everyone consented? New Yorkers, you want it. Kathy Hochul and Mamdani, you want it. What about the people from New Jersey? Change in vehicle noise complaints, 17% down in the congestion zone. God damn. 8.6% reduction in people seriously injured in a crash. That's good policy. Policy so good, I can't believe America was willing to do it. The right hates all this, I'm sure. They've dropped off it a little bit, you know? Let me clear up some of these tabs. We got stuff to talk about. Microsoft has renamed Office to Microsoft 365 Copilot app. Incredible. 400 million users just became AI users overnight. It probably is for that, so they can like pad their AI stats. Hey, did you realize we've onboarded 500 million people into, yeah, stat padding. That's been done for months now. Has it? Because I opened, or I saw a person open Office recently, and it was called Office. I think it shows how vulnerable they are and worried about their numbers. Again, it fits into the whole financial schemes make more money than anything else thing. Like, Microsoft doesn't want to make money by selling you goods and services. They want to make money by boosting their stock price by inflating the perceived value of AI, which they have a huge stake in. You know? They don't want to make money by giving you a thing and you give them money. They want to overinflate the bubble they're already riding on. Wow. I'm starting to think I'm a one-issue voter. Yeah. Productive capital is dead. It really is, man. It really is. It's why basically everything is more expensive now too, you know? There are some things that have gotten less expensive, usually stuff made in factories like TVs or whatever, but for the most part, like you know, a lot of well, I'm oversimplifying a little bit. Services have gotten a lot more expensive. As a general rule, anything made in a factory has gotten cheaper, and anything not made in a factory has gotten much more expensive. Healthcare or anything, you know, with a personal touch or whatever. Not RAM. Yeah, except for graphics cards. Eesh. Imagine renaming Microsoft Office. That is insane. I can't. Like you're torpedoing the long-term brand viability of your product and of your business just to like pump a little bit more air into the bubble, you know? Maybe just to pad some stats. The Microsoft CEO begged people to stop calling AI slop. Merriam-Webster chose slop as their word of the year. Super fitting, by the way. Really on-the-nose choice. Very, very good. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella made it clear he'd prefer we all left that term in 2025. We need to get beyond the arguments of slop versus sophistication, Nadella wrote in a rambling post flagged by Windows Central, arguing that humanity needs to learn to accept AI as the new equilibrium of human nature. As WC points out, there's actually growing evidence that AI harms human cognitive ability. Going on, Nadella said, oh, this reminds me of a little interview snippet where Sam Altman, a guy who recommends that you use AI for everything in your day-to-day life, says that he's an avid note taker and that he goes through like a notebook a month with how many notes that he takes. Which is like, that's interesting. So the capital elite want to engage in note-taking, a system that is proven to be cognitively beneficial and good for your long-term memory and thinking skills. But he wants you to remember everything with ChatGPT lists. That's curious. He also said he couldn't raise a child without ChatGPT. Yeah, that's what he said. So that you would raise your kids with ChatGPT. But he was lying. I guarantee you that Sam Altman is not using these people do not get high on their own supply, okay? These people are not like waking up. Sam Altman is not making life decisions based on ChatGPT. He's hoping you will. Unless they're Elon. Yes, Elon is stupid enough that he probably is. That is true. But he is not, you know, human elite in any regard besides his fucking bank account, okay? If anything, subsidizing his decision-making with Grok would significantly improve his intelligence. People really got up in arms about this one. Well. Better than Sam Altman raising a child. Does Sam Altman have a kid? Yeah? Okay. Hold on.
No, I'm a huge note taker. Oh, tell me about that. There's all these like fancy notebooks in the world.
Yeah.
You don't want those. You definitely want a spiral notebook because one thing that's important is you can rip pages out frequently. And you also want it to lie like flat and open on the table. And if you like open pages, you want them to like, you know, like be able to lay like this, whatever. You definitely want to be able to like rip pages out. I'm a big believer of like, I take a bunch of notes and then I like...
More microslop. Most major Windows 11 features are broken. Yeah, I can't believe it. Like, I might actually get fucking negatively polarized into Linux. It's either going to be Linux or getting a fucking Mac and then like hosting Windows. No, I don't want to do that, man. I don't want to...
Clearly like rip them out so I can look at multiple pages at the same time. And I can like crumple them up and throw them on the floor and I'm done. Like when our house cleaner comes in on like a, you know, whatever, there's just these pile of crumpled papers that I'm like type my notes in or whatever on the floor. You definitely want like a kind of paper that is like good to write on, which is a feel thing, but most paper is terrible to write on.
This is so autism coded. Dog, this is this Sam Altman is probably a solid 5 IQ points smarter because he does this. Note taking is really good for you.
You want hard front and back to the notepad. So, and you also want something that can fit in a pocket. I was about to say that. I think the Uniball Micro 0.5 pen is the best pen overall, but the Muji 0.36 or 0.37 in dark blue ink is a...
Oh, they're saying it here too. The guy with that heads the best AI company on the planet doesn't use AI to think and advocates pen, paper, and writing. Let that sink in. Let that sink in.
Very nice pen for other reasons. So those are the two I would use, but...
Now we're Pilot G2 fanboys here. You know, I recently went to Glasswing, which is a nice like clothing and horticulture store in downtown Seattle. And well, not downtown, in Cap Hill, Seattle. And they had some nice like Japanese stationery, which everyone loves Japanese stationery, right? Like people love that shit. And they had some nice notebooks. And I was like, okay, these are nice notebooks. I want to test the paper. Can I get a pen? And I was given a pen. The pen was really nice. I was like, how much is the pen? The pen was $300. So I did not get the pen. I did get a cute notebook though, that I have not used once because my desk isn't really set up. It doesn't really like have the room to have a notebook on it. And also my handwriting is really bad, but I'm thinking I might get into, not calligraphy, penmanship. I think I might try to fix my handwriting a little bit. I think that, what the fuck, I don't think Japanese stationery is that expensive. No. It was just a really fancy pen. It was just a really fancy pen. This wasn't $300. This was like $18. But I would like a really nice pen. I have a nice pen, I think. These are gel pens. I've got the classic Pilot G2 here. And this is the Pentel Energel Liquid Gel ink. You know? G2 is awesome. Yeah, the G2 is classic. I use this like all through high school, you know? I wouldn't mind having one super expensive pen. I don't really know enough about pen. I wouldn't mind if I could spend like $100 on one nice pen and then just refill that for the rest of my life. That'd probably make me happy. But sometimes I pick up a pen, they just don't feel right. You know, I can't just order something online.
I think this kind of notebook and one of those two pens is the right answer. And how many notes you're writing per day on that thing? I go through one of these like every 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, wow. So you're taking a lot of...
Well, you can see how much I've ripped out. Like this used to have like 100 pages in it.
So that's how you think about it. So you're going to basically take the notebook and then you rip out the pages.
Pretty
and you
much.
Don't have completed notebooks.
I don't have completed notebooks.
Wow. What inspired this? Where does this come from?
Does it count if you have a notes app in your phone? No. The cognitive process of writing something down physically, the inscribing of thought into symbols, the symbols of a letter, puts it in your brain much better than just hitting a button and then the letter appears on the screen. I know this sounds like a boomer slop, like, no, trust me, dude. The super convenient modern method is worse, but studies have actually shown that's true. It's just true, you know? Think of it as an extension of how the best way to learn something is to teach it. Like, The best way to learn a concept is to have to run through the abstraction of codifying your thoughts into speech to another person. That way you're involving more parts of your brain. You're not just trying to like remember information, like you're learning the quadratic formula and you're like do. You're thinking, you're not talking, you're thinking, you put it in here, okay, it's there. Well, what if you fucking forget it, you know? The best way to learn the quadratic formula or anything would be to explain it to somebody else. Now you have to like run it through with someone else. You're using more of your brain, so more of your brain lights up on the fucking monitor or whatever, and it encodes it more thoroughly in your memory. It's like that with writing too, right? You're doing a much better job engaging more parts of your brain. Think of writing as like a compound exercise for your brain. What if we called a place for this a school? Well, we know people aren't really learning in school these days, so. I'm a software engineer, and it's also way better to copy code by literally typing it out instead of Control-C, Control-V. Yeah, I've heard that, 100%. Yeah. Otherwise, you get a bit of code right once, and then every time it's useful in the future, you're just like Control-C, Control-V, Control-C, Control-V, 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 Control-V. And then, like, after a week of doing that, you kind of forget the purpose of the original code. Like, you've got it annotated or whatever. You've got the text telling you what it does, but you're like, wait, hold on. Which variable does this reference? But if you redo it yourself every time you further encode it in your memory, and you're like, you understand that on a more organic level. It stops being this, like, one block of info and starts being a comprehensible chain of information. Now, obviously, there are like limits to this, right? If it's a really simple but lengthy block of code, you can just Control-C, Control-V. Like, I'm not saying that if it's like, you know, if you're doing the classic programmer task of finding out whether a number is odd or even by if number equal 1 set odd, if number equal 2 set even, if number equal 3 set odd, and then you type that out for infinity, you don't need to type it out a second time when your game calls on that code a second time, right? Like, you can copy and paste the infinite scroll if you want to. Yes. Try a Sarasa Clip or a Sarasa Grand, very cheap relative, but a lot better than many more expensive pens. You know what? I'll open those in a different tab.
Trial and error, many kinds of notebooks, many pens, many different systems. This one's really good.
Another thing I've been thinking about when it comes to the influence of AGI on creative mediums is just the competence with the written word is going up so much. And here's what I mean. There's now, you know, with Sora, you can create videos using text as the input. Yep. You can do that with music. You can do that with images. And that's a big change in terms of the influence of writing on our world.
Again, for me, like,
that is happening the opposite of the effect. It's like the interviewer realized that what they were doing here was kind of undercutting the value of AI. Like, they're basically talking about how much better it is for you to do things the old-fashioned way. And then he was like, so as we were saying, yeah, artificial general intelligence, the thing that definitely exists, really is improving our literacy, wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you say that's demonstrated by the fact that you don't use it?
Writing is a tool for thinking, most importantly.
Oh my God.
I don't think that's going anywhere.
He didn't take the bait. He didn't take the bait. He's still...
And so I think it's really important that people still learn to write for this reason, in the same way that even if there's going to be like less traditional coding jobs, coding is a great way to learn to think too. Mm-hmm. So you should still learn to code.
So when you say it's important that people learn to write, what does that mean?
What it means to me is that I've like figured out this...
Don't fucking use ChatGPT. You know, there's actually like a mild crisis happening right now in the goddamn, just in computer science in general, in every field that pulls on it, because for one, like, there are a lot of people who, they're having a hard time finding experienced coders because they're replacing novice coders with AI, like people doing grunt work. But if there's nobody around to learn the grunt work, there's nobody with enough skill to promote themselves up to the more competent work. Like, if you're handing out the grunt work to AI, who's learning the grunt work so they can do better than grunt work? And also, a lot of people, everyone's self-taught now. Self-teaching on how to code is not necessarily that good, you know, for the same reason that writing lots and lots of fan fiction doesn't necessarily make you a good author. Practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. You still have to have a good guideline. You need structure. God, how many people out there have spent how many hundreds of hours on Duolingo and still could not hold a basic conversation? Like, if you live in a foreign country for 3 months, I bet you would have an easier time speaking that language than you could 3 years on Duolingo, even if you practiced every day. Duolingo is not designed to help you learn the language well. It's designed to make you feel like you're learning the language well. It's satisfying.
Tool to think more clearly. Now, if there's a better way to think more clearly with AI, great, I would switch to that. I've definitely not found that yet.
When you're sitting down to write and you're thinking about creating a focus state, what is it that you're doing in your process to really create that?
I used to think like, oh, I got to get in the perfect place and I got to like set a time that I'm going to like go to this coffee shop and put on my noise canceling headphones and I'm going to be in writing mode. And now I will take any 11 minutes uninterrupted that I can get, like sitting in the back of a car, laying in bed, like whatever it is. I mean, if I do have like...
Okay, that's great. I don't care anymore. I ate his vocal fry. Yeah, he really sounds like a sibling rapist, you know? You really get that vibe off of it. All right, let me clear these tabs, then we do real news. What is this?
When you are attaching the term fascist, you're talking about Nazis. You're talking about specifically Nazis. And when they say oppression...
Not just Nazis.
I'm saying specifically for what I'm saying. The suppression of the opposition, when they're calling Trump Hitler, they're calling...
Is this Sydney Sweeney?
Who's they? J.D. Vance?
I'm sorry, leftist. When the leftist...
Which leftist politician? Can you name one?
I think you're moving the goalpost here.
Wait, no.
Meanwhile, in the debate space...
Can you name one leftist politician who has called Trump Hitler?
It's every single... It's like...
So you shouldn't be throwing this out when no leftist politicians have actually called Trump Hitler.
And you're throwing out the term fascism.
Is saying that an election was stolen when it wasn't fascism? Wait, do you think the 2020 election was stolen?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Coward, come on.
No.
I don't know because I'm not
honestly,
up in power to find that out.
this proves my point. Trump is causing a rise of fascism in our generation. I would never say that you're a fascist, but I think there is a normalization of an ideology where people are denying elections. You don't even...
Imagine looking like this and being a chud. That's fucking crazy. This, you know what this is? Overwhelming victory for liberalism. Overwhelming victory. You know? Like the aesthetic, or for progressivism, I should say, the aesthetic and social tendencies of progressivism are so deeply intertwined and so woven, so omnipresent that even the Gen Z fascists still have to look like this. You know, it's like Matt Walsh coded, right? Like Matt Walsh just looks like a 2011 hipster despite being him. They have no culture of their own to pull from. Just, I don't know, West Virginia, Appalachian, incest rape chud code. I don't know, fake cowboy. Like they have very few aesthetics to pull from. Oh my god, so fucking weird. It's, and they all want to be black too. I know, I've noticed this with like so many alt-right, like neo-Nazi white boys or white girls, like the VTube lolly types, whatever. They love saying the N-word, soft A. I guess my thinking is like, if you think black people are degenerate and that their way of thinking and speaking and their culture are all inferior and unintelligent and like morally objectionable, why do so many of these guys, Nick Fuentes does it too, they all do it, why do they want to drop the soft A so much? Like, you're not trying, like, you, if you, the hard R is one thing, because that's the racial slur. When you say the N-word with the soft A, you're trying to sound like a cool hip-hop guy. Aren't you supposed to hate the culture? Or whatever? Like, if you wanted to express disdain for black people by using the N-word, you would say the hard R. You're trying to be cool. but you're trying to be cool in this, like, devil-may-care, like, look at me, I'm white and I can say it kind of way. Dog, I grew up in Los Angeles. There are tons of white people who say the N-word, soft A, all the time. We call them Koreans. But like, it's not special or anything. Like, if you want to be cool and say the N-word, all you have to do is grow a patchy goatee, wear a do-rag, hang out in southern LA, and live in a weirdly large rundown house, and like a single-family house, okay? You can do it, you know? Where's your culture? Why aren't you listening to Wagner? Why aren't you dyeing your hair blonde? You all know what I mean, right? I just saw a VTuber clip the other day, and of course the VTuber, it's this far-right girl, probably in her 40s, but pretending to be 12. The VTube avatar was of a little girl, and she was like, "What's up?" And she N-word soft A, you know, and the chat's like Pepe posting over it or whatever. But it's like, again, if you think black culture is degenerate, why are you so desperate to, like, it's one thing to be a white guy who wants to be black because you think black people are cool. Like, there are issues there, but at least it's because you think it's cool, right? But your whole political mantra is that it's not. So why are you, I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, I guess it's a like, we're taking your culture kind of thing. Yeah, I just seems weird to me. I don't know. Like, imagine if the original Nazis were all obsessed with acting Jewish. Like, all the Nazis were like, huh, Shabbat Shalom or whatever. And like, from the outside world, you're like, wait, do you like Jews or not like them? And they're like, no, 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 we hate them. That's why we keep doing that. Heh. Okay. I don't understand the bit. I don't know what the fuck you're doing right now. I don't get it. Just put the Wagner on the gramophone, okay? Wasn't the Degenerate Art Museum popular in Nazi Germany? Yeah, but back then they pretended to not like it. Like, Nazi officials would go to the Degenerate Art Museum and they would be like, this is disgusting, verboten, but like secretly they'd be entranced by the interesting art, you know? But now the Nazis are just openly like, no, we actually love the degenerate art. I don't get it. I don't know. It's so weird. There's so much racism that doesn't make sense to me. Like I was talking about this the other day, not on stream. The fried chicken and watermelon thing. I don't get it, okay? So a lot of racists make fun of what food is it? It's not Kenya Rwandan. What's the food that they make fun of cuz it's like on spongy bread and you eat it with your hands? It's from Africa. It's the African food and it's delicious, right? You eat it with your Ethiopian, thank you, Ethiopian food, right? Okay. I understand if you're being racist and you're trying to appeal to people's like base instincts, you're trying to like appeal to people's fear and disgust. I could understand making fun of that food and being racist about it. Like, I understand it strategically, okay? Because like it kind of looks like poop a little bit. Now you have it and it's amazing, right? So kind of countered if you've ever had it. But a lot of people haven't had Ethiopian food, so from a distance it's like, oh, it's just blobs of squish or whatever. You know what I mean? But here's the thing I don't get. Why the fuck do we make fun of black people for fried chicken? I don't get it at all. Every human on earth likes fried chicken. Everyone, unambiguously. It looks delicious. It is delicious. I have no idea what the joke is. People are like, yeah, black people fried chicken. When people say black people fried chicken, parentheses derogatory, I don't get. It's like, yeah, Japanese sushi. Yeah, yes. I don't get, again, it would be one thing if you thought it was gross. Like, there are people out there in the world that eat like Chinese people eat chicken feet. I guess we do too sometimes. I think that's gross. They can do what they want. I don't know. I think it's gross. There are people out there that eat food that I think is gross. And if you saw that and you were racist, you could point at it and be like, well, that's gross. And I don't think that's good or whatever, but at least the thing you're describing is gross, like subjectively. But fried chicken is fucking delicious. Everyone likes it. I have no idea what you're doing with that. I don't understand the point. And watermelon, in addition to being extremely popular all around the world, watermelon isn't even like a food. I mean, it's edible, of course, but it's not a made food. It's a fruit. Like, you find it on the ground, basically. Like, it's not prepared cuisine. It's just the big round gourd on the ground. It's a gourd right now. Is it a gourd? Is a watermelon a gourd? It's like a pumpkin, right? No, it's not. Okay, whatever. It's a melon. Yeah, melon. Okay, well, yeah, it's all right. Okay, you understand what I'm talking about, right? It's like sometimes the racism makes no sense to me. I do not at all get where they're coming from. I'm sure there's a historical explanation for it, but in the contemporary world, it's like, haha, black people love fried chicken. Me, like, pausing to take a bite of my fried chicken along with everyone else watching the video because everybody likes fried chicken. Yeah, that's fucking stupid. What's it? I don't know. Yummy. Fried chicken and watermelon were big slave food in the South. Okay, but lobster used to be like poor people food. I'm just saying it doesn't make any sense now. It makes no sense now, right? I understand the Ethiopian food bit because a lot of people haven't had it and it looks like poop from a distance. But now every human on earth likes fried chicken. They won, man. They won. They won. The black people won, I guess. I don't know what you fucking won. Like, why would you... you bring it up and you're, like, reminding me or other people that they like the food you also like. I'm sorry. This is, like, completely fucking unrelated to anything else we're talking about. I'm just saying, like, whatever historical roots there are to this particular form of bigotry, it's just insane to me that this is something people actually try to, like... I don't know. It's crazy. It's not even black coated. Like, fried chicken's everywhere. It's everywhere. Everyone has a take on it now. It's because modern racism is more aesthetic rather than actual prejudice. Okay, I'm just going to end the point. Like, making fun of black people by associating them with fried chicken would, to me, it's like if you made fun of them by only talking about how they have allegedly large penises, which a lot of Nazis do. And I think it says way the fuck more about the people making the claims than it does about the groups of people that they're trying to be derogatory towards. I don't understand what mode of attack you're undertaking right now. It's senseless, okay? You need to read Sun Tzu's The Art of War because you are not... This is not a fruitful, no pun intended, like, method of degrading a group. I don't know. All right, sorry. How do I tag this? Fried chicken and watermelon tangents. Like, it sounds racist even saying fried chicken and watermelon, even though everyone on earth likes both of those things. It's just weird. Like, if we were talking about Japanese cuisine and I said like sushi, like rice and fish, which I have, that like no one would be like, oh yeah, the Japanese with their rice and fish. I don't know. Chinese people and bao? Okay. It's also a poverty insult, but that doesn't work anymore because now you can get chicken tenders and fries for $17 at every restaurant on earth. Like, it's not... fried chicken is literally like the default food for autistic white boys in the suburbs, you know? Like, they won't eat anything. Sorry, I'm losing my mind just thinking about it. It just makes no sense to me. Like, you have to find like grosser foods to make fun of them for. I guess is what I'm saying. It's not supposed to make sense, lol. Well, I mean, usually when you're being racist, you're supposed to make fun of or exaggerate or invent negative traits about a group of people, right? You're not supposed to point out cool, agreeable traits. I don't know. Okay. How did these get tangled? You need to hit your head repeatedly against a wall for it to make sense? Yeah, I guess so. All right. What else are we on? Oh shit! Did you guys see? He's kind of like main character of the day, or at least he was 2 days ago. The guy saying that he can't stand spending more than 10 minutes with his kids. Do you guys see this? This one's pretty good. Justin Murphy. Yeah, did none of you see this? No? Oh, okay, that's fine. It's probably not really worth our time. Am I just a monster? It's been 4 years since I became a father, and I'm beginning to fear for my soul. The truth is, I just don't like being around kids for very long. Historically, this is not uncommon amongst fathers, but today it feels almost illegal. It's causing me a lot of confusion and anguish. The ideal amount of time I'd like to spend playing with my kids is probably 70 to 140 minutes a week, roughly 10 minutes each day, maybe twice a day, taking breaks from work. My feelings of love toward them are perfectly strong, but if I have to watch them or entertain them for more than about 10 minutes, my blood starts to boil. I just want to be working or accomplishing something. I try to be grateful, but it doesn't work. The only thing I have to say about this is this one tweet. In response, it's a lot of men want kids the same way 6-year-olds want a pet dog. Like, will you take care of it? Yes. And then the parents end up taking care of it. Damn, some people really shouldn't be parents. Well, this guy's like a sociopath, broadly. So he's not necessarily representative of the broader generation, I think. Though it is an issue. The work in question. All right. Actual goddamn news, like real news. Tim Walz, who you might know as the governor of Minnesota, has dropped out of the race for re-election as the governor of Minnesota because of that fuck-ass chud YouTuber and his fake video on how every Somali in Minnesota is stealing money and not taking care of kids or whatever. I'm not joking. He actually got bullied out of the race. I am unbelievably disappointed in Tim Walz on this.
Big breaking political news out of Minnesota. Governor Tim Walz, who of course was the Democratic nominee for vice president in 2024, has ended his re-election bid for governor. He is not going to run for re-election. This comes as pressure has been growing around this widening welfare fraud scandal. Now, Walz has not been accused of any wrongdoing, but it has been a growing political headache. Let's get right to CNN Chief National Affairs Correspondent Jeff Zeleny. This is a wow this morning, or at least would have been if you had said it was going to happen, 2 or 3 months ago.
That's right, John. Good morning. Even perhaps 2 or 3 weeks ago, the reality is Minnesota Governor Tim Walz had been insistent on running for a third term, which would have been unprecedented in and of itself. Minnesota has not elected a governor for 3 consecutive terms, but it is that deepening federal probe as well as this widening scandal. As you said, he is
There was not a deepening federal probe, and there was not a rising scandal. The video that this is all based on is fake. It is a lie video. It is a video of lies. Look at this, the chud who made the video, Nick Shirley, this fucking guy, the guy whose job is to lie, like state propagandist. I ended Tim Walz. 400,000 likes on this one, by the way. Like a YouTuber took down Tim Walz's gubernatorial campaign, which I think is just disgusting. And you're ceding so much power to these people when you do this, you know? You are giving them so much goddamn power. Just any fucking fake drama video can take down an entire campaign. It's appeasement. It feels like appeasement, especially because we all know the attention span of the right is incredibly fucking small. There were no consequences for, I don't know, the Haitian immigrants in Ohio, because that was all made up too. Imagine if we just kept giving them wins every time their 2-week attention span turns towards something new. Now they're going to have this win under their belt forever. Now they're just going to use this as a reinforcement of their claim. Oh yeah, the scandal's so bad that corrupt Tim Walz had to drop out. The next goddamn Hitler. Here's him posting a video from a gas station in Miami Wait a minute, the mainstream media lied to us again? The people of Venezuela actually didn't like being ruled by a narco-terrorist? World Cup-style celebrations are erupting all across Venezuela at the moment. Congratulations to the people of Venezuela. Que Dios te bendiga. Wonderful. Community notes. This is a gas station in Miami, Florida. God, I really can't stand him. Yeah, I mean, he's just a state propagandist, right? He's been getting boosted from every single right-wing source, which, you know, again, would be lovely if the left wing was capable of doing this, or like the Democrats or whatever, but, you know, that's not the world we live in. Here's the statement from Governor WALZ. Happy New Year, Minnesotans. I was glad to turn the page on 2025. It was an extraordinarily difficult year for our state, and it ended on a particularly sour note. For the last several years, an organized group of criminals have sought to take advantage of our state's generosity. And even as we make progress in the fight against the fraudsters, we now see an organized group of political actors seeking to take advantage of the crisis. I won't mince words here. Trump and his allies in Washington and St. Paul and online want to make our state a colder, meaner place. They want to poison our people against each other by attacking our neighbors. And ultimately, they want to take away much of what makes Minnesota the best place in America to raise a family. They've already begun by taking our tax dollars that were meant to help families afford childcare, and they have no intention of stopping there. Oh yeah, as a consequence of this, Trump froze childcare federal payments, or like daycare subsidies, to every state. So, you know. Make no mistake, we should be concerned about fraud in our state government. We cannot effectively deliver programs and services if we can't earn the public's trust. That's why over the past few years, we've made systemic changes to the way we do business. We've gone to the legislature time and time again to get more tools to combat fraud. We've fired people who weren't doing their jobs. We've seen people go to jail for stealing from our state. We've cut off whole streams of funding. In partnership with the federal government, where we saw widespread criminal activity. We put new locks on the doors of our remaining programs. We've hired a new head of program integrity. Again, keep in mind, the YouTube video is fake. The broader conspiracy that is being referred to here has been known for years and was prosecuted by Biden's DOJ. There is no reason to concede on this point. All across the state, Minnesotans are hard at work on this program. Advocates, administrators, investigators are on the front line defending the integrity of the state's programs, and I want to thank them for these efforts. There's more to do. A single taxpayer dollar on fraud is a dollar too much to tolerate. This is bullshit. There is no program on earth for anyone, to anyone, no matter how you build it, no matter how you structure it, that will not, on some level, have waste due to fraud. It is impossible. If you don't believe if you believe $1 wasted to fraud is too much and that invalidates the program, then you don't believe in programs as a concept. You don't believe in anything. You don't believe in the government. You don't believe in corporations. You don't believe in any institution. You don't believe in individuals, because there's money lost to graft on those two. I hate this concession towards their framing, where you run programs all across this country that help hundreds of millions of people, and all the right has to do is unturn rocks and not even find evidence, make up evidence of a single dollar being misappropriated, and now all of a sudden this legitimizes a broader attack on everything that makes life possible, you know? But the political gamesmanship we're seeing from Republicans is only making that fight harder to win. We've got Republicans here in the legislature playing hide and seek with whistleblowers. We've got conspiracy theorist right-wing YouTubers breaking into daycare centers and demanding access to our children. We've got the President of the United States demonizing our Somali neighbors and wrongly confiscating childcare funding that Minnesotans rely on. It's disgusting and dangerous, but you're conceding to it. We welcome the involvement of the federal government. I'm grateful to the career professionals at the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI who are helping us win this fight. But I cannot abide the actions of the political leadership in Washington, these opportunists who are willing to hurt people to score a few cheap points. They and their allies have no intention of helping us solve the problem and every intention of profiting off it. Which brings me to this. 2026 is an election year, and election years have a way of ramping up the politics at a time when we simply can't afford more politics. In September, I announced I would run for a historic third term as Minnesota's governor, and I have every confidence that if I gave my all, I would succeed in that effort. But as I reflected on this moment with my family and my team over the holidays, I came to the conclusion that I can't give a political campaign my all. Every minute I spend defending my own political interests would be a minute I can't spend defending the people of Minnesota against the criminals who prey on our generosity and the cynics who prey on our differences. So I've decided to step out of the race and let others worry about the election while I focus on my work. I know this may come as a surprise, but I'm passing on the race with zero sadness and zero regrets. After all, I didn't run for this job so I could have this job. I ran for this job so I could do this job. So on and so on. It's hard for me to be too mad at him because he's under a lot of pressure, and his family probably is too. But like, fuck, man, you're handing them such a win. Such a massive, massive win. The plan seems to be to run Klobuchar. Klobuchar considers win. Yeah, but I don't like Klobuchar. He's a lot worse than WALZ. People driving past the governor's mansion calling a special needs kid retard day in, day out. I get why he doesn't want that to continue. Yeah, but like, we're fighting for the future of the country here. Why doesn't he film them back? Why doesn't he have a press conference every day talking about the crimes of the right wing, like stochastic terrorists in Minnesota? This is what I mean. Like, that for Republicans, nothing is off the table. You can do anything that you want. And for Democrats, it's like there's this line past which they refuse to move, even though they're getting the worst possible treatment despite not moving to that line. That's what I mean. Like, why not have like a PR team with you? Why not like ruthlessly work on this? Unfortunately, as much as I like Tim Walz as a person, and he does seem like a really good person, like just like interpersonally, you know, he does not have the sauce to really carry that fight, right? He is still like a classic Democrat. He will not instigate fights within the Democratic Party. He will not like move the needle. He is too nice. He's too nice. It's kind of like a lesser version of the problem that Bernie Sanders has, right? Though Bernie Sanders is obviously to Tim Walz's left. He must be afraid for his family? Yeah, probably. That wouldn't surprise me. I have no idea how well Klobuchar would do in the governor's race, though it wouldn't surprise me if she did quite well. I think she's relatively popular.
Implicated in this at all. This is actually somewhat old news in Minnesota. This has been going on for years and years. The prosecution started back during the Biden administration, but over the holidays, it certainly did widen. There was a right-wing influencer who posted a viral video on social media that quite literally went viral when the vice president of the United States and the FBI director leaned in on this, and it shined a brighter spotlight on really what had been some deep concerns among Minnesota Democrats, even about the wisdom of Governor Walz seeking a third term. They believe that this would hang over the entire reelection effort and perhaps even damage the Democratic Party, even though there is no suggestion that there was wrongdoing. However, this widening scandal happened on his watch, but we are getting his reasoning.
It's not a widening scandal. It's not. It's not. A disinfo campaign is not a scandal. A scandal implies actual wrongdoing. There has to be actual wrongdoing for it to be a scandal.
In a new statement this morning that's ahead of a news conference he's scheduled to hold in just a few hours. And let's take a look at one small portion of this, if we can, John. The governor writes this. He said, "As I reflected on this moment with my family and my team over the holidays, I came to the conclusion that I can't give a political campaign my all. Every minute I spent defending my own political interests would be a minute I can spend defending the people of Minnesota against the criminals who prey on our generosity and the cynics who prey on our differences." And the governor goes on in quite a lengthy statement, which we expect him to read at that news conference, which is going to be happening at 11 a.m. in St. Paul, Minnesota. He goes on to take direct aim at President Donald Trump and allies of the president and Republican allies who have sought to make political hay out of this, if you will. Of course, they have a lot of this fraud is coming from some leaders of the Somali population in Minneapolis and Minnesota.
Yeah, I guess we can watch the news conference. I didn't realize it was so short. Is it just him reading?
Several years, an organized group of criminals have sought to take advantage of this state's
Why does this begin in the middle of the
generosity? And even as we make progress in the fight against the fraudsters, we now see, and I want to give a very heartfelt thank you to all of them. Right-wing actions of the political leadership.
So it's just him reading it.
To our child tax credit.
Okay, no questions from press. Okay. I do feel for him. You know, because again, he does seem like a good guy. It's not so often when I am upset with Democrats, it is because of their willful incompetence or their malice, or their abstemiousness or whatever. I guess this is a kind of abstemiousness. For the most part, it's weakness, but it's authentic weakness. It's human weakness. It's not like, you know, them cuffing themselves because they've decided they don't care enough to fight.
Minnesota, longstanding members of the community, and the fraud goes back to the COVID time of federal money that was sent to the state of Minnesota. It was simply misused to the tune of the billions. So dozens have already been convicted. But again, the governor is taking direct aim at President Trump over this for politicizing this entire matter.
Well, good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year.
Can this be seen
like
as
many
walls caving to the right-wing rhetoric? I mean, it's not just seen as, that's what it is. A right-wing disinfo campaign has stopped a popular governor's re-election campaign.
Minnesotans, I have to tell you, I was glad to turn the page on 2025.
Okay,
it was and on access brings me to this. 2026 is an election year. Election years have a way of ramping up opportunities. Help one will take that away from us. On my watch. Tomorrow, I'll be back with you.
Okay. Oh, CNN interviewed Nick Shirley.
The Trump administration says it is now withholding all federal child care from a
People are going to say this is a left or right issue.
I saw this guy, this godly man, wearing a fucking Poly Market shirt on Twitter the other day. Like, his Poly Market sought out a fucking sponsorship. Just got a hoodie. He's a hoodie with Poly Market written on the front.
Fraud is fraud. And so I'm not out here trying to put a twist on things.
Shirley's viral video released over the weekend in which he says he's uncovering tens of millions of dollars in fraud at Minneapolis daycares run by the Somali community was retweeted by Elon Musk and Vice President J.D. Vance. In the video, Shirley tries to open locked doors and talk to people at various daycares he claims are frauds.
Did you come during their normal operating hours when you came to visit?
I came at 11 a.m., I believe, and I also came the following day later in the day. The point of it is not whether or not I came at the right time of their operation hours.
No, I would say that arriving during the operating hours would be pretty important if the goal is to see if there are people in the building.
The point is that blacked out doors, they can't give you any information. You call that number, no one answers. I wasn't trying to go inside, and there should be a way for somebody to actually be able to call that number and somebody to be able to answer. These aren't real businesses.
But surely you don't think a daycare should just be unlocked. You shouldn't be able to just walk into a
There
daycare.
should be a reception.
No, every daycare is locked.
Their doors are locked.
And so, okay, you bring up a fair point. Then why can't they actually give me information how to enroll a child?
Federal law enforcement has been investigating fraud in Minnesota for several years. Both Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel said on social media they've indicted dozens of defendants. DHS has posted multiple videos of agents they say are conducting a massive fraud investigation.
Do you think that federal law enforcement hasn't done enough? I mean, they would say, look, these fraud cases have been going.
Yeah, man, that's so true. That's so real. Homeland Security, definitely the people that you would pull from in order to conduct a fraud investigation in the United States. Definitely not just brown shirt thugs we're sending here to capitalize on the popularity of this fucking YouTube video.
Going on, but they've already done like 80 indictments. The cases have been going on, for years.
And why did I show up one day in Minnesota and go to all these daycares?
CNN reporter gave pushback. Well, it just shows that this scandal is so fake that even softball clarifying questions from CNN of all places, this kid instantly folds. Did you show up during normal operating hours? No. Okay. Did you expect to be able to just walk into a daycare? Yeah, you should be able to do that. No, you shouldn't. Oh, okay. Yeah, well,
children, they're receiving millions of dollars. We uncovered nearly $110 million in fraud in one day.
How do you know that all the allegations that you're making are true?
How do I know that they're true? Well, we showed you guys what was happening, and then you guys can go ahead and make your own analysis.
We're coming.
How do you know what you're saying is true? You decide. Watch our YouTube video, like and subscribe, and you can decide.
So we can make our own analysis. Are you 100% sure you're true?
Yeah, I am 100% sure I'm true.
CNN is looking into Shirley's claims.
Hi, my name's Whitney Wild. I'm a correspondent for CNN.
We reached out to several of the daycares featured in the now viral video. Only one daycare facility answered and said they are a legitimate business.
Have you seen the videos, purporting that some of these daycares don't have kids inside?
Minnesota Republicans say despite the new focus from the Trump administration, they have been sounding the alarm on fraud for years.
It's been an open investigation for years. Since the Biden admin. But the Biden admin issued actual, lawsuits. And the Trump admin has not.
We have talked about fraud. We have gotten stories. We've tried to push this forward every way that we can.
At the daycare where Shirley showed back up, a stream of children walk inside.
You're saying that this is a fraudulent daycare. There's kids being dropped off right now.
Yes, the Commissioner of Children literally said a week ago this place was closed.
Did you know
They're
that?
showing face right now.
A viral video, disputed claims, and their full...
That's not a joke, by the way. He's actually made the claim that on Craigslist or whatever, they've put out ads for fake crisis actor children to be shown walking into and out of the daycares. That's not a joke.
Fallout remains to be seen.
Dozens of fraud cases that DOJ is touting began during the Biden administration. Back in 2022, the U.S. Attorney's Office for Minnesota announced 47 indictments for this massive fraud scheme. Since then, they've indicted more than 30 more people, and in total, they have secured at least 56 convictions. Whitney Wild, CNN, Minneapolis.
The group chat is back to talk about all of this right now.
And
Sarah, I want to go to you first. What do we know based on evidence about the alleged fraud in Minnesota and how legitimate and widespread it may be?
Well, I think a lot of people were very apt to believe Shirley's videos because we had indictments in 2022 when reporting first came out about this issue. It was David Fahrenthold, then at the Washington Post, who started to unravel all of these claims. The reason why I think Shirley's post has gone viral amongst some of the conservative community is because Minnesota is a politically convenient target, not just for the president, but for the party. Obviously, the governor there, Tim Walz, was the running mate to Kamala Harris in the 2024 election. Ilhan Omar has long been a foe of the president's. And you noted up top that the ICE immigration raids on Somalis has been a priority for the president. So all of this collectively has made this story something that people want to gravitate to. And in addition to that, previous reporting...
They can say everything but this is fake. Like they can lead you to the water, but they can't make you drink. They can ask him a brief clarifying question and he stammers his way through it. They can ask, do you think this is true? How do you know it's true? And he'll say, you decide. They can say, we investigated his claims and found that they were false. But they can't say this is a lie or this is just political opportunism.
That uncovered widespread fraud in Minnesota.
Thanks.
14.
Anyway, yep, this shit just sunk Tim Walz's career. So, cool. Great. Yeah. Is there a good video or something debunking this BS? I mean, yeah, but it's one of those, the amount of energy that it takes to debunk a claim is much greater than what it takes to make a claim. The BS in question is literally just a 40-minute, Mr. Beast video. The Nick Shirley video that is the source of the misinformation is just, I went here and did this. And then if you look into it, he provides no evidence and he didn't go there and he didn't do that. And the thing that he said that he did isn't what he actually did. And then the thing that he said that he did but didn't do would also have not worked. And on every level, it's all made up. There's basically what I'm saying is that the right has not presented any standard of evidence for their claims that should even meet your skepticism. You should take these claims about as seriously as homeless people rambling. Man, look at the like to dislike on this one. CNN interviews Nick Shirley on his childcare fraud claims. No! You're supposed to just accept them uncritically! 21K comments. I mean, clearly it was brigaded, but like, yeah, this is where the hysteria is at the moment, or at least 5 days ago. The news cycle moves quickly. Tim Walz breaks, drops campaign due to right-wing harassment. So this is just like James O'Keefe and Acorn, but somehow more racist? Yeah, basically. God, remember Project Veritas? I forbore. I wish. They put more effort into Veritas than this? That might actually be true. All right, we're almost clear. The Pentagon has begun an effort to strip Mark Kelly of honors and demote him because of his plea to U.S. service members to not follow illegal orders.
I've got a question for you. How many generations of Donald Trump's family have served in the military? 0. Now, for me and my family, service to our country is in my blood. My great-grandfather served in the U.S. Navy after immigrating from...
Great example, though, of how inept this, like, pro-veteran rhetoric from the left is, because the kind of people who think your opinion is worth more because of your veteran heritage are also the kinds of people who think that America should be a white ethno-state and your opinion is invalid because you've defied the Trump empire, you know? Like, what do you... It's like, this is not the right line here. No, I don't fucking care. Like, the decay of our institutions is one thing. The fact that you're being stripped of honors for political reasons, et cetera, okay, right? Like, that's all fair. But, like, I'm more of a veteran than Trump? Nobody cares, man.
Ireland. Both of my grandfathers served during World War II. Both of my parents wore uniforms. My dad in the 82nd Airborne, and both of them as career police officers. And when it was our turn, my brother and I started as volunteer EMTs, as teenagers, before becoming Navy captains, pilots in the United States Navy, and NASA astronauts. Donald Trump, he deferred the draft 5 times because he had bone spurs. Look, not everyone has to serve in our military.
Like this, like it's just... I mean, your argument kind of is everyone has to serve in our military. Your argument essentially is like, no, I'm owed like a different degree of respect because I've served in the military. That is your argument. That is the point that you are making.
To serve in our military, I get that. But when you're gonna question my patriotism and lecture me about duty to this country, and threaten me with a court-martial, 4 generations of service.
Like you are conceding to the administration the idea that your loyalty to the country and your service to the country are the reasons why this is wrong, rather than the fact that it's a fascist administration going after political opponents. Like, the fact that you are from a veteran lineage has literally nothing to do with the legitimacy of the claims made against you. If there was a legitimate reason to strip you of your title and your pension, that would be applicable whether or not you had, you know, whether your father served in World War II, any of that bullshit, you know? Like, it's...
This country earns me the right to speak. 5 deferments earns nothing.
Like, military people always do this, acting like their voices matter more because they served. Yeah, it's complete bullshit. It's fucking DEI nonsense that I don't respect. This video doesn't even mention what they're trying to do to him. That they're trying to put him in the device. Hegseth censures Senator Kelly after Democrats' video urging troops to resist unlawful orders. We do propagandize them to think that way. Yeah, but the kind of person who thinks that a veteran is an innately better person is the kind of person who probably supports Donald Trump. The only reason they wouldn't are for like respectability reasons, right? But the innate like the legitimizing mechanism there is completely fucked. Hegseth said the censure, by itself simply a formal letter with little practical consequence, was a necessary process step to proceedings that could result in a demotion from Kelly's retired rank of captain and subsequent reduction in retirement pay. Investigating and now punishing a sitting U.S. senator is an extraordinary move for the Pentagon, which until Trump's second term had usually gone out of its way to act and appear apolitical. In a lengthy post on social media, Kelly said he never expected what he called an attack from Trump and Hegseth. Really? Oh, did he make another post? Really, you never expected it? Yeah, there we go. Over 25 years in the U.S. Navy, 39 combat missions, 4 missions to space, I risked my life for this country to defend our Constitution, including the First Amendment rights of every American to speak out. I never expected the United States President and Secretary of Defense would attack me for doing attacks like that. Why? My rank and retirement are things I earned through my service and sacrifice for this country. I got shot at. I missed holidays and birthdays. I commanded a space shuttle mission with my wife, Gabby, recovered from a gunshot wound to the head, all proudly wearing the American flag on my shoulder. Yeah, no one fucking cares. I'm sorry. Why make it about yourself? Why not say, like, how telling that you're upset I said that soldiers shouldn't follow illegal orders, you fascist criminal fucks. You want soldiers to do crimes. Like, well, you just make it about the underlying claim, not about yourself. Trump did say the video was punishable by death. I forgot about that. Yeah. How are we doing, folks? Terrified? Well, why terrified? When do they start doing the assassinations? I don't think they do. If they were going to do that, I feel like they would have done that earlier on. Like, there wasn't really that much stopping the Trump administration from doing a bunch of extra legal arrests, like right at the beginning of the administration, you know, just make up charges, arrest a bunch of Democratic senators or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. With how weak the Democrats are, maybe they could still get away with it. The CDC has officially slashed the vaccine schedule for kids. Nice. The CDC will no longer explicitly recommend children get vaccinated for rotavirus, COVID-19, influenza, meningococcal disease, however it's pronounced, hepatitis A and hepatitis B, reducing the number of diseases covered by the childhood immunization schedule from 17 to 11. Yeah. That's cool, man. Whatever. I'm vaccinated. I'm fine. Rip to those kids, though, or whatever. Do the rich realize if they kill us all, they'll have no one to enslave? Genuinely, no. I actually think that the material conditions of their class position keep them from understanding that. I don't think they get that. I work in healthcare. This is a fucking disaster. It might kill more Americans than gun violence in the long term. Oh, yeah. For sure. Vaccination rates are on their way down. We've had the return of a bunch of previously basically under control diseases. It's not just RFK Jr., but the process is being hastened considerably, mostly by backlash to the COVID vaccine, opening up a bunch of conspiracism. No, what about the picture? I want to see the image. Here we go. Share of U.S. kindergartners vaccinated against measles, polio, and the whooping cough. And you'll notice that right as soon as COVID hit, see? Right as soon as COVID hit, that's where the vaccination rates plummeted. And that's because of all the right-wing, anti-vax propaganda just sort of spread out from there. Very state-dependent, too. Look at this. State-level coverage for MMR vaccines varied, ranging from 78.5% in Idaho to 92% in Connecticut, a real state. $98, not 92? Did I say 92? 98%, 98.2% in Connecticut. Medical exemptions are still nowhere. Non-medical exemptions are skyrocketing. How curious. It's so bad in Florida. Yeah. Does this mean Connecticut's mogging Idaho? Yes. Do you know about Idaho and do you know about Connecticut? Do you know anything about those two states and what they're like? Anything at all? I'm from California, no. It's still your country, man. Isn't this just going to kill a lot of Republicans and poor people in shitty states? Well, it's mostly going to kill, like, the children of Republicans. That's the primary victim group. But they don't really care, so, you know. I had some women in my nursing program seek out a religious exemption for the COVID vaccine. Man, I wish we could just force vaccinations on everyone. I wish we could just arrest the people who said no. That'd be so based. We'd get rid of so many bad people so quickly. You don't want to get your kids vaccinated? Oh, okay. Well, they're wards of the state now. Not wards. Property of the state? Whatever it is. Put them in a leper colony? Yeah. There is no scheduled public event for the announcement. Nice. Just happening. It's not just in America, by the way. This is also happening in much of Western Europe. Yeah, they're falling there as well. I think a lot of them are worse than America. Depends on the country. Big difference between, like, France and Albania, you know? What's infuriating is the way vaccines actually work is so complicated, even smart, normal people can't understand it. You don't have to understand it, you just have to bend the knee. I don't understand how computers work, and neither do you. We still use them. No one watching this probably fully understands how, like, all the shit that allows this live stream to function works. It's, like, pretty advanced technology. You might have a general grasp of it, but, you know. Civilization can't survive sloppulous distrust and expertise. There's a difference between technocracy, the idea that everything should be run by a fiddly group of managers and bureaucrats and so on, versus just believing in expertise as a concept. Literally, like that's just a basic precursor to civilization, you know? Don't know how your car works, don't know how your house is built. How could anybody literally trust any processed foods and distrust vaccines? All foods are processed too. Like, this is part of the obsession with, like, raw milk and raw meat and stuff like that, as though those foods aren't also processed. Like a guy getting a slab of flank from an animal that's been getting injected with steroids and antibiotics its entire life. Did Vosh see Trump's stated reason for not backing the opposition leader is that she didn't give her Nobel Prize to him? He didn't say that. It's not his stated reason. It's something that people close to him have said they think about him. But I actually disagree. I do not think that is the reason Trump did not back her. I think it's because it's not part of the deal. She was never viable as a replacement because the same generals that run Venezuela still do now. In Albania, vaccinations for kids is mandatory. Damn, well, fuck me for besmirching them, okay? All right. Glory to Albania. In Poland, we have evidence that anti-vax groups are tied to Russia. Probably here, too. Let me see. Oh yeah, some guy attacked JD Vance's home. Presumably his gay lover. I appreciate everyone's well wishes about the attack at our home. As far as I can tell, a crazy person tried to break in by hammering the windows. I'm grateful to Secret Service and the Cincinnati police for responding quickly. We weren't even home as we had returned already to DC. It's a perfect analog, man. NL viewer. Let's assassinate this guy. Let's assassinate this guy with hammers. Did he post the picture? Nah, I didn't. The kid is very goober looking. Yeah, no kidding. 26 years old, but he looks like this fucking chubby-cheeked 15-year-old, you know? 26. This is 26. That's crazy. Looks like a young JD Vance. Time travel? Time travel? Any takers? You seen this dumb lady trying to claim I'm Donnie Ray's bus fares? Kind of funny. It's not funny, and she's not dumb. She's a paid propagandist. Like almost everything that comes from their side, it is completely inauthentic. They have no real beliefs.
Hi guys, from the New York City bus. Where Mayor Mamdani, he promised us a free ride, but guess what we got instead? Higher bus fares. Yes, that is right. Today, the price of this bus went up to $3. You know why? Because even with this price increase, the New York City buses and subways are barely able to function. The mayor of New York City has actually never had control over the transportation. That is controlled by the state. Yes, that's right, the governor. Mamdani, he lied to all of you, and guess who's paying the price? All of us.
Yeah, great. If I was Mamdani, I'd respond by saying his personal fee is tripled. That'd be funny. I love how much she facetuned the video. Look at this, man. According to Matt, her husband is a plastic surgeon, so maybe she just has like Gaussian blur permanently applied to her face. But I think this is edited. It's fucking disgusting.
Day one of the CBS Evening News was not day one of a 10-day road trip live from San Francisco. It was instead a Saturday live show based on what could be a decade-defining capture of Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro. We're a news show. I think that is actually a better launch than anything else we could have come up with. The road sometimes rises to meet you.
We're going to be seeing so fucking much of this guy. Since he's getting his instructions from Barry Weiss of the Free Press, he's going to act like a YouTuber, you know? Like, he's not going to be a regular broadcaster where you just see him, you know, behind the desk or whatever. He's going to be, I guarantee you, he's going to be taking, like, candid videos on his morning jog where he, you know, talks about the commitment to free speech that CBS represents. Ranting in his car seat, yeah. Ay, ay, ay. Man, remember yesterday when we were watching that Chud YouTuber? That was fucking great. That was really good. That was fun.
With me now, David Smolansky. He's a Venezuelan opposition politician and advisor to...
Sure, we'll do this game again. 1 second.
With me now, David Smolansky. He's a
David Smolansky.
Venezuelan opposition politician and advisor to the opposition leader and winner of the Nobel Prize, Maria Corina Machado. David, thanks so much for joining me again.
Jim, thank you so much for having me.
So, David, first, tell me your reaction to...
I'm not doing this whole thing again. Okay. David Smolansky, by the way, Ukrainian ethnically, like descent-wise, interestingly, but I guess that explains why he looks this way. Served as mayor of El Hatil municipality in Caracas, was the former special envoy of the Organization of American States for the Venezuelan Migration and Refugee Crisis, an SNF Agora Institute Fellow at Johns Hopkins University, where he serves as a visiting professor, researcher, and speaker on democracy, migration, and global authoritarianisms. Smolansky is also a senior fellow at the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation.
This U.S. military operation over the weekend, does Machado, does the opposition welcome the U.S. military action to remove Nicolas Maduro?
Yeah, I would like to start this interview to say thank you to President Trump and the whole administration of the United States.
That's all of it, though. He is not John CIA the way that that other lady was. He's you know, he's obviously got his biases and stuff, and this is still his life, but he is not racked up like 80 consecutive points on being a demon.
Secretary Rubio, Secretary Hetzek, for this quick, smooth, and clean operation that happened in Venezuela that captured Nicolás Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, where then they will face charges tomorrow in New York. They did what the International Criminal Court couldn't do for 6 years, and definitely this is a huge step for freedom in Venezuela.
Let me ask you this, because administration officials...
He's part of a center-left party. This is just representative of the poor politics the Venezuelan opposition didn't have. Yeah, I mean, this guy is part of the same opposition party that Maria Corchado belongs to, correct? It seems like everyone associated with that party is some kind of Fed.
When they were discussing possible action in Venezuela, for months had discussed the importance of restoring democracy there. So it was notable when President Trump, in the wake of this operation, seemed to dismiss Machado as a viable leader of the country. I want to play his comments and get your thoughts on the other side.
Mr. President, is the U.S. aware of the location of opposition leader Machado, and have you been in contact with her?
No, we haven't. Really, no, we haven't.
Mr.
President,
on Monday.
I think it would be very tough for her to be the leader. She doesn't have the support within, or the respect within the country. She's a very nice woman, but she doesn't have the respect.
Mr. President, is it possible that the U.S. ends up administering?
See, I really think that if Trump's beef with her is that she didn't give her prize to him, he would not have responded this way. I just think that Marco Rubio said, nah, we can't make it work with her. And that was that.
In Venezuela for years, you know.
She doesn't have the respect within the country. What's your reaction to hearing that from the president?
Well, on that regard, with due respect to President Trump, Maria Corina Machado is the most trusted leader in Venezuela. She's got all the legitimacy when she won a primary with 93% of the vote. Then when she endorsed President-elect Edmundo Gonzalez after she was illegally banned for running, President-elect won with 70% of the outcome. And she's very capable. She's brave, she's courageous. She was in hiding for over a year, and I don't have any doubt that she
won an election of the Peace Prize, no respect or legitimacy there. Well, for one, she should not be in charge of Venezuela because she is a demonic Zionist who has openly stated that her primary goal is to open up the country to foreign investment. So that's one. For two, the Nobel Peace Prize was its issuing to her was an accomplice in this colonial scheme. She was only given the Nobel Prize as part of a deal with her and presumably with the United States to better secure a regime change here. It just didn't play out in her favor. I think that by not having the respect or popularity she needs, Trump means with the generals.
To be with President-elect Edmundo Gonzalez, the leaders of the rebuilding of Venezuela, where obviously the U.S. is going to be our main allies, and we will have plenty of other allies in Latin America and Europe and beyond. But Maria Corina Machado is a leader who is out of this world, and she's got the support from almost every Venezuelan.
But if she doesn't have support of the U.S. president, how does she have a viable path to power?
Well, she has a viable path to power because she got the support of the people. She's got the legitimacy not once but twice, as I said, winning the primary in 2023 and then the July 28th election 2024. And then she has led a resistance a chapter that contributed, I have to say, for where we are right now. And I have to say, Jim, and sorry if I'm taking a bit more time on this answer, the support that we're having not only from the U.S. but from many governments across the world. We're having support in Latin America from Argentina, Paraguay, Ecuador.
Why does she need support from the United States? Well, because we just did a regime change. Like, by what other mechanism would she be allowed to obtain power? Again, it's pretty clear that she's not going to get that position. We have not done anything about the generals that actually run Venezuela, and they don't want to be ruled by her.
Just to mention three of them: Panama. In Europe, we have the support of the UK, France, and Italy, and the vast majority of the EU members. Israel, Morocco, New Zealand, Korea, Australia. So the support.
What an interesting country you chose first. That's fascinating. Thank you. Very interesting.
That Maria Corina Machado is having and the democratic movement is having is global. And it has been very important to get to this point.
In your contacts with the administration since this operation to remove Maduro, Have you received any assurances from the Trump administration about the role of the opposition?
They know what we have done. They know what we have achieved. They know the efforts that we have made. I also have to say that something that we have come up is that there still are in Venezuela more than 800 political prisoners, the majority suffering from psychological tortures and physical tortures. And something that I need to add, Jim, is that Delcy Rodriguez, the person who is trying to remain in power, she's a member of the cartel. She's sanctioned here in the U.S., Switzerland, Canada, the European Union. She has been one of the enablers of the biggest money laundering scheme and corruption that you have ever seen.
Crazy low bar to meet. Like it's super upsetting that I even have to derive enjoyment from something this low down. But I am loving all the people associated with Maria Machado being really upset that they were not the ones pitched in to be the, you know, stooge leaders of Venezuela to support American interests. Like they're all upset that we did a regime change, but we didn't do enough of one to get them in. It's still fundamentally the same people running the country, and they're upset about it.
Not only in Venezuela, but in whole Latin America. And she has been one of the mastermind of rigged elections in Venezuela. And I have to say that she's a communist as well. So
wow.
On that regard, she's also responsible of those political prisoners. And I think it's very important the release of them as soon as possible.
Rodriguez has changed her rhetoric to some degree in the last 24 hours, initially condemning the operation, but more recently saying Venezuela has the right to peace, to development, to sovereignty, to a future. And President Trump at least has not taken off the table the possibility of her remaining in power if she abides by American pressure, it seems. Are you concerned that she might supplant Machado and the opposition? In other words, that the Trump administration can live with Delcy Rodriguez as the leader as long as she cooperates with the U.S.?
That won't be possible because, again, she's the member of the cartel de los Soles, Sons cartel. I have to say that before she was the legitimate vice president, she was the foreign ministry, and she worked for a lot of years on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. She was one of the mastermind of open Venezuelan doors to China and Russia. She's someone that you cannot trust because she has participated in negotiations tables and dialogue in the past, and she doesn't have a word, and this administration knows that. I understand that transitions are messy, that sometimes you have to deal with people that are completely different from what you think, but the legitimacy is on the side of Maria Corina Machado. The leadership is on Maria Corina Machado. The support of the people is on Maria Corina Machado, and we will be, doing some actions and statements during the next days that people will support.
The president has repeatedly mentioned oil in the wake of this operation. He said we need to access the oil. You heard him in his comments there on Air Force One. He has not mentioned or does not seem to be prioritizing a democratic transition at this point. Are you concerned that this administration, this president, values access to Venezuelan oil more than restoring democracy?
I think, Jim, that oil in Venezuela, which is the country with the largest oil reserve in the world, doesn't exclude democracy, and we have said that to this administration. We have said that to the Congress, and I know, Jim, for over 100 years, U.S. companies have been in Venezuela working on oil. We have presented
we have to return to tradition.
And its name is the $1.7 trillion opportunity, where we want oil companies, and especially from the U.S., which is our closer neighbor on this topic, to be involved, because of corruption and money laundering, and because oil was used to fund narco-terrorist activities. Our oil industry was destroyed. We used to produce when at the end of the last century, in 1999, over 3 million oil barrels a day. And this regime now is not producing even 1 million oil barrels a day. And that's because the oil company was used to fund narco-terrorist activities, and at the same time was used for corruption and money laundering. So again, we are open for U.S. oil companies to invest.
It's so disqualifying, man. I wish I could be supportive of some kind of opposition movement within Venezuela, but it's so fucking disqualifying when you have to lay your like neck on the table, open to American exploitation this nakedly. Hey, Trump has said this is about oil. He wants oil. Yes, yes, we are very okay with America taking our oil. Yes, of course. America took our oil for 100 years, and we want to go back to that. It was narco-terrorism that kept America from taking their God-given oil here in Venezuela. It's like, man, can't you at least pretend to be in it for the Venezuelan people? Like, can't you say, these resources are ours, and we look forward to being able to develop, stabilize, and negotiate with foreign industry to see, like, what's possible? Like, that's it, just anything. They never talk in a way that sounds like it's meant to secure confidence of the Venezuelan people, you know? Like, it never seems like they're running to impress those people. It's just embarrassing, man.
In Venezuela, we believe in free market. We believe in private property. I have to say that many
like this. Like, who is this for?
Companies were nationalized, confiscated, and expropriated. That's illegal, and we want to do exactly the opposite: promote investment, promote free market, and that goes with democracy and access to justice.
You know, as I listen to you, it sounds to some degree like you're making a case, right? A case that you've made to this administration. I just wonder if you have confidence that the administration is listening.
Well, you interviewed me, I think, the first time like 4 or 6 weeks ago. And
like they're both speaking with full acknowledgement that this is not about, yeah, it's bootlicking. It's not about making a case to the Venezuelan people or even the American people that you'd be better for Venezuela. It's literally just, what can you do to sweeten the pot for Trump? Oh, yeah, they did a regime change. Now the former VP is interim president. Okay, so do you think that she's going to offer her oil up to you better than I could?
Me about increasing pressure, and you asked me that if I was confident that that was going to increase, and I said yes, and I was confident, and it happened. It happened on January 3rd. That is a day that will change forever the direction of Venezuela. I am confident that we will have, at the end of the day, an orderly and democratic transition that is going to be led by the leaders that Venezuelans chose, in this case, Maria Corina Machado and President-elect Edmundo Gonzalez. They got, again, the legitimacy, the respect, the credibility, and we want to work with the U.S., we want to work with democratic governments in Latin America, and we want to work with all our different allies that have been with us on the most difficult moments.
Final question, can you tell us where...
Like Israel.
Maria Corina Machado is now?
I cannot tell where she is, but probably we will know soon.
Wait, what the fuck is this? Como News, suicidal empathy, directive from Seattle City Hall. Whoa, 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 hold on. 2 hours ago.
New this morning, the Seattle Police Department already clashing with Mayor Katie Wilson, who just took office days ago. It's about an alleged directive from the mayor in regards to open drug use in the city. KOMO's Natalie Fahmy joins us live now. Natalie, what has the mayor asked city police to do?
Holly Kelly, this is really about what Mayor Katie Wilson has asked city police to stop doing. What we know is, according to the Seattle Police Officers Guild, they say the mayor has asked them to stop making arrests for open drug use. In a statement, the Seattle Police Officers Guild calls the decision naive and ignorant, saying it will create more death and societal decay. The statement also takes aim at the LEAD program, which aims to divert people who, among other things, are engaged in a low-level drug crime away from the criminal legal system and instead connects them with intensive case managers. The Seattle Police...
Don't police literally just release them hours later most times? Yeah, for the most part, it does nothing but waste time and money. It's like the purpose of police being able to arrest you for open drug use in many cases is so that civilian busybodies and business owners outside can be like, cops, take them away, and then they do, and then nothing changes or happens, you know?
Officers Guild says lead supports the idea of, quote, suicidal empathy. We've also seen state
far right, insane far right term, by the way, to just drop like that.
leaders weighing in overnight, including chair of the GOP, Jim Walsh, who simply calls the idea of stopping arrests for open drug use stupid. Now, we did also reach out to the Seattle Police Department for an official statement. Over the weekend, they say they will get back to us sometime today. Live in Seattle, I'm Natalie Fahmy, KOA News.
And Natalie, do we know the details of the directive from the mayor at this point?
That's something that I'm still working to get exact details on. I did reach out to the mayor's office early this morning, still waiting to hear back, but asked a list of questions, including whether she can confirm that the directive was in fact made, why it was made in the first place, if there's any concern that it will contradict state or city law. So we have all those questions out to the mayor's office and are waiting to hear back. Of course, we'll update as soon as we get those answers.
Pierce County Sheriff Keith Swank wasting no time using this controversy as a way to lure officers away from Seattle. He posted on X last night, "Hey SPD and SPOG, Pierce County Sheriff's Office has a home for you. Here you are encouraged to commit law enforcement. The citizens of Pierce County love you, and I got your back. Come join our family." Of course, SPD already faces a significant staffing shortage, though was on track to hire more than 150 new officers last year.
And Holly, that brings us to this morning's Summer Pulse poll at 6:09 now. As you grab your smartphone, we're asking this specifically: do you support Seattle easing up on?
What the fuck is a pulse poll? Is this for people to take a poll, but you're only polling people watching this live on air?
Arresting people for open air drug use. We have about 500 votes so far this morning. 92% saying no, they do not support Seattle easing up on arresting people for open air drug use. 6% saying yes. 2% at the bottom saying each case is different. Obviously a hot button issue this morning. We want to know what you think. So add your
Sheesh. All right. Well, she's getting right to work making people, making local Hitlerites mad, I suppose. What else is going on in my fair city?
Investigating multiple shootings today that left 3 people injured. So far, no one is under arrest for any of the shootings, which span from Soto to North Seattle. KOMO's Tyler Cunnington brings us the latest from police.
Seattle police are now investigating 3 different shootings that all happened in the early morning hours dotted across the city of Seattle, including one right here within Soto. They all mark the first bouts of violence in this new year of 2026.
Thank God it's just Soto.
Seattle police say within just a few hours of one another, they spoke to 3 victims of gunfire in North and South Seattle. The first incident came at the Mount Baker bus transit station around midnight when a 38-year-old man said he heard gunfire before realizing he was in pain and had been shot twice in his left leg. Police have since requested video from the transit station. Next, around 5:15 a.m., officers responded to reports of gunfire near North 128th Street and Aurora Avenue North. It's there they learned a 29-year-old woman had been speaking to a potential customer on Aurora when she heard an argument followed by gunfire. It was while running away she was shot in the leg. Officers found multiple shell casings and relevant video through their real-time crime center. And lastly, a 26-year-old man who was found at Harborview Medical Center told officers he'd been attacked and then shot twice from behind while running from a hookah lounge in Soto. Police say the man had just moved to the city from Arizona and was not being cooperative with detectives.
Okay. Man, I look away for 1 second.
But no less important. I see fellow organizers. I see union members.
This is her inauguration speech?
I understand that when I'm the mayor, I'm going to have some help writing speeches. But I feel like maybe this is my last time where I get to just say whatever I want.
Yeah, this is the inauguration speech. Okay, this is just a replay. Huh. I'm interested in more information on the order to not arrest people for open drug use, because that's the kind of thing that's going to make local Hitlerites really fucking mad. I wonder if there's a plan. This isn't Seattle.
Have you ever rented an apartment in New York only to find yourself not just paying rent, but application fees, amenity fees, credit score checks? In a city filled with old buildings that could use some tender loving care, some landlords are taking advantage of the housing market to gouge tenants with outrageous fees, all while leaving them trying to survive in homes with collapsing ceilings and sinking floors. It's time for that to change. We need a citywide crackdown on rental ripoffs. We need to take on the indignities from those landlords who demand more than their fair share. That's why our administration is organizing a series of rental ripoff hearings in every borough. This is a chance for you and your neighbors to speak directly with us about how you're getting ripped off. For the first time, our city is bringing this discussion directly to you. And it's only just the start. We're excited to share more information about these hearings soon. In the meantime, start taking notes so you can share with us how you're getting ripped off.
Weird audio. No, it sounds like something. What's with the analog film filter? Well, I mean, a lot of the Mamdani campaign aesthetic was rooted in nostalgia, right? Like his logo is like 1970s bodegas. He's done filters for a bunch of his videos. This did feel a little bit lo-fi hip-hop. Yeah, for sure. He has been active.
This is a photo I was just given of me in high school, standing alongside a friend and a leader of our then soccer team, Asher Kelly Nacht. He was given to me by his mother, who is here with us. I did not know then what I know now, which is that Asher's father was killed while riding a bicycle by a reckless driver. And I say this because too often in our city, in our politics, we lose sight of what this actually means in people's lives. We forget that this inaction has forced the very New Yorkers who have felt the brunt of this violence to traumatize themselves day after day, telling elected officials about the worst moment in their life. And today we are here not just to announce that we will complete this redesign, but also to announce that those days have to come to an end. That instead what we must do now is build for a new future. One that understands safety as something that is paramount, not as something that has to be negotiated. So to these families, to these New Yorkers, I am so sorry that we could not have done this earlier, years and decades ago, to have saved the loved ones in your life. But I thank you for the work that you have done to ensure that we can save those New Yorkers today, tomorrow, the weeks, the months, the years to come, to ensure.
Apparently it's not true about Katie Wilson. She released a statement saying it's not true and that when she issues a policy change, she will announce the policy change. So it's literally just some dipshit in the Seattle Police Department or whatever saying, I bet she's saying people can do drugs on the street now. And they all just ran with it. That's crazy. Man, oh, she's going to have to fight uphill so much.
That this pain not be felt by others who call the same city home. Thank you so much.
Man, you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to read donos. What? What? Oy, oy. Not going to cover the Yemen Civil War. I'll get around to it. Short stream? Fuck you. E33. We'll do E33 soon, okay? I'm not caught up on D&D prep. Fuck you. Canny Lex, thank you for the 2 Tier 1 subs. Really appreciate that. Mussolini's Mistress, thank you for the Tier 1 sub. Will we get Cartel ISIS? No, I don't think so, because it looks like the power structure in Venezuela is not fundamentally changing. So I don't think there's going to be a power vacuum the way things are right now. Juzor and Ilanthu, thank you for the Tier 1 subs both. Really appreciate that. Thoughts on you engaging in media to have more public presence, etc.? Engaging in media? I don't know what you mean by engaging in media. As like juxtaposed to doing debates. Engagement in me? Do you mean like doing Piers Morgan or whatever? Probably not, no. I don't think it's fruitful. It's actually, I think it's the opposite of fruitful, to be honest with you. Translation, they hate your media takes. No, I don't think it's that. Soli and Ganja Cookies, thank you for the tier 1 subs both. Really appreciate that. Are you a survival horror fan? If so, you should try to play Chronos the New Dawn on stream. Chronos the New Dawn. Chronos the New Dawn. I don't know anything about this. I can take a look at it. I watched my birthday, so I have some of my birthday money. Happy birthday, Ganja Cookies, or at least happy birthday yesterday. I have a friend who is obsessed with femboys. I'm not sure if I should be worried about him or not. You should probably be worried about him, yeah. Even if you leave aside the whole political implication stuff, what a lot of people who get really into okay, here's the thing, okay? How do I put this in a way that won't make people mad? Because I get emails sometimes from people who are mad, okay? There aren't real femboys. They're not a real thing. When people draw femboys, they draw flat-chested women. Like, the hip proportion and the lack of facial hair and everything, this isn't like a real-life thing. Or at the very least, it's extremely uncommon in real life. So just don't... Make sure you're not, like, forming unrealistic expectations about what guys look like. Okay? Feminine men are real? Yes, they are. And they don't look like how people draw femboys online. I'm sorry, I'm not engaging with this, okay? I don't need to argue with you guys, okay? I've had sex with feminine men. They're not like the internet. It's just not a real thing. Thana, thank you for saying it so much better than I ever could. Don't turn into the BTS fangirls who can't like real men anymore because they think they'll eventually find the Giga femboy. Yeah. It's like falling in love with people who are like AI, app, face-tuned, always a gallon of makeup on, you know, like you're setting unrealistic standards, right? Also, I think if you think you're into guys, you should try fucking a guy, you know? Explore your interests. But if you think you're into guys, but you can't stand any body hair, any facial hair, you want very soft proportions, you want fat distribution to be like very much towards the hips and so on, you want them to be small, so like like, are you into guys? Because I know there are some guys who are all of those things, but they're not the norm, not even close. They're like a fraction of a percent. Yeah, you might just be into women, you know, which is cool. Isn't the fix to be into trans women? Yeah, if you're into trans girls, that's fine, but you shouldn't call them femboys. You shouldn't do that. They probably don't like that. You shouldn't do that. Isn't being only into trans women just a fetish? That's not a fetish. I guess people would call that being a chaser, but no, it's more complicated than that. If you're into like a specific set of physical attributes, there's nothing innately wrong with that. But there's a whole bunch of psychosexual baggage that comes along with that people usually bring with it, you know? I guess the hypothetical like platonic ideal or whatever is Yuki, that's not fair. The hypothetical idea there is like if there was a person who was just like attracted to a set of characteristics that trans women happen to have and they're consistently into that, then I guess that's fine. But realistically, in real life, and you can just ask trans women, right? Like they've experienced it. A lot of people who are specifically into trans women, especially straight guys, are also really fucking weird about it. So that's what you have to avoid, I guess, you know? Please don't instruct the people who only like femboy drawings to go after trans women. Don't do this to us. As a general rule, yeah. Like, being really into drawings of femboys is very stinky coded. So probably not good to direct that energy towards real people. I'm just saying that, like, I don't think there's a big like Venn diagram overlap between all of these attributes as they're perceived or drawn or otherwise like accentuated, you know, online between like it's this big cloud of characteristics that tend to overlap, right? Like for example, and they're totally different like degrees of comfort depending on like who you're talking to or what they're into, because there are lots of trans women who will ironically play into the femboy thing because either A, it makes them money on OnlyFans, or B, they think it's funny, or C, honestly, often online femboys are drawn so feminine that it's a more desirable visual archetype to appeal to in their mind than saying like trans woman. And I think a lot of that is also like 4chan TTTT brain stuff, like the idea of a trans woman who feels more comfortable self-identifying as a very feminine guy, even though they also say they're a trans woman. To me, like this is a theoretical configuration that can probably by some people be done responsibly, but in reality is probably usually implemented by people with self-esteem issues. You know what I'm talking about? Like that's probably a kind of brain rot for most people who are doing that shit. Yeah, you get me. I guess the moral of the story is like, don't be weird. Don't be weird to people. Yeah, write that shit down. Be like Sam Altman, you know? Fill a little notebook with it. There's also a rising fetish of misgendering I see lately. That's always been a thing. It's just a variant of people get horny when you're mean to them. And everyone feels this way to an extent. This is not a trans cis or top bottom thing. Everyone under some conditions thinks it's hot when people are mean to them. It's just the complex tapestry of human psychosexuality as it relates to perceived negativity. That's always, there's always been some variant of that. That's very much a bottom thing. I mean, yeah, they do it more, obviously. The classic humiliation kink. It's not the humiliation kink. It's just in general, like being mean to a person, you know? Like what about you meet a cool girl at the bar who's kind of like callous and flippant and sarcastic, but in a way that you find inviting and intense. That's not a degradation kink. It's just like you found a pretty intense woman. It's a, you know, like that. It kind of entails meanness to an extent. It's pretty normal. I don't know, Noe Manny. I didn't program it. That's absurd. Not everyone is into that. Well, when I say everyone is into that, I'm obviously engaging in an overstatement. I don't know if every human being on Earth is. There are probably like some asexual people, but also I think it's pretty common, yeah. You probably aren't just experienced enough to know what I'm referring to. You know? Like in your head, you're thinking, I mean degradation kink, like some people in chat erroneously pointed to. But in reality, I just mean like casual meanness, which is a staple and component of friendships, right? Like, are you and your friends not occasionally mean to each other? Is that not normal? I don't mean mean as in like abusive. Like, take a wider definition, you know? Expand your... Would you want a personal or sexual partner to be exclusively like nice? Yeah, what about teasing? Yeah, playful bullying. What about being a little bit callous sometimes or giving you a hard time, you know? What about banter? What about rage bait? What about life, man? What about life? Have you forgotten about life? I haven't forgotten about life. H. Jason, thank you for the very kind 20 bucks. Just came back from a 2-week Japan trip. Nice. Is there good news to come back home to? No. No. Not really. Not really, no. Ringek, thank you for the $5. Really appreciate that. Taiga, thank you for the tier 3 sub. Very kind of you. Knotted Alpaca, thank you for the 2 $5 donos. You're sick so often, is it an age thing? I'm sick very infrequently. What I get often are tension headaches, which I feel in the back of my neck, and a cough. For my entire life, I've had coughs that linger after any sickness that I get. And the reason I get those coughs is because of GERD. G-E-R-D. Gastro something, something, something. And the gist of it is that my tummy's a little sensitive, and if I make my tummy angry with agitation, like through a bunch of coughing, or with a bunch of food that can like upset your gut bacteria or your stomach acid, like a bunch of acidic foods or whatever, the acid reflux burns my throat. The base of my throat or my esophagus is really sensitive to that feeling, and it causes a reflex cough. A dry cough, it's not a productive cough, like I'm not trying to get rid of anything in my throat, but the little burning feeling at the base of my esophagus causes a consistent cough. And I've had this issue my whole life. Only recently have I learned enough about why it happens to reduce it somewhat. But in terms of actually getting sick, like having a disease or whatever, that only happens to me maybe once or twice a year, like the sniffles or whatever. I mean, I have allergies, but, you know. You don't got GERD, do you? I definitely have GERD. Gay extra retard disease. You got it. I fixed my GERD with the Link surgery back in college, and it helped so much. Yeah, I've heard about that, and it does make me wonder if it'd be worth getting. It feels a little bit excessive, but it's also supposed to be minimally invasive. It also sounds kind of scary. Like here, let me read from Google AI Overview. Link's surgery is a minimally invasive procedure for chronic gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, that involves implanting a flexible ring of magnetic titanium beads around the lower esophageal sphincter. That's where the tickle happens, to help it stay closed and prevent acid from flowing back into the esophagus. The surgery typically takes under an hour, offers a shorter recovery period than traditional methods, and aims to reduce reliance on medication by correcting the underlying cause of reflux. Now, to me, that sounds scary, but honestly, it's supposed to be pretty good. I don't know. I don't know. It does interrupt, like, from purely in a financial sense, I do lose out on probably tens of thousands of dollars every year just because I can't stream because of my cough. It would improve my quality of life quite a bit. So, you know, it's possible that it would be a worthwhile endeavor just for that reason. I'm uninsured though, so I wonder how much the surgery costs, just offering a briefcase of cash, you know? Never do any surgeries that aren't for life-threatening life-threatening conditions. I don't necessarily think that's it's valid. Vosh water helps. I drink a lot of water, you know? You know why I don't drink water that often on stream? It's because I'm worried that I might drink it, like do the inhale water, wrong pipe thing, and then I get a cough and I have to end stream. Because I don't get a light cough or a cough that only lasts a little bit. Once I cough, even once, like I just did, now I feel that that like tickle at the base of my esophagus. So the reason I don't drink so much on stream, I'm in a rush to talk. I want to keep viewers activated, you know, engaged. So I drink, I go glug glug, and then I want to talk too quickly, and then I'm worried it'll make me cough, and then the cough might fuck the stream, you know? So I tend to drink water pretty like slowly on my own time. Have you tried cimetidine? Yeah, but this isn't that. This is a different acid control. Yes, I know what the medicine is. I've tried the medicine. You might have Barrett's esophagus. Oh, hold on. I have every symptom of GERD. and no non-GERD symptoms. You know, I'm pretty comfortable with my self-diagnosis here. I mean, I haven't talked to a doctor about it, but this is a pretty common and normal. Like it's not a, you know, not a difficult call, is what I'm saying. It's not a rare condition. Looked up your symptoms on WebMD. You have brain cancer and ALS. Good luck, retard. That's why you got to be careful with the self-diagnosis stuff. But, you know. My GERD went away after I stopped eating gluten, for what it's worth. I really don't think I have celiac disease. Like, that's very uncommon. Real celiac is super, super, super uncommon. You know, whereas GERD affects tens of millions of people. Just realized Mama's GERD too. Hey, listen, if talking about this brings attention to anything, you know. It's never lupus. You can have gluten intolerance that isn't celiac. I can look into it. Anyway, what Knotted Alpaca said was, I'm in my early 20s and I haven't had a headache since I got the flu almost 2 years ago and almost never had acid reflux. I'd like reaction videos, even if it's just you in the corner passively. If it's me, yo. God damn it, now I'm thinking about it. The fuck thing about it being like a tickle, you know? Wait, last thing, White Nervosa sent ticket weeks ago, no response. Okay, I need to talk with White because there's some site management stuff that's been lagging behind. Not at Alpaca, I'm going to keep this message of yours up here so I can respond to you later, okay? Here, well, now I'm coughing because I'm thinking about it. It's like a psychosomatic thing. Ringek, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Nebulazer, thank you for the incredibly kind $20 and 5 tier 1 subs. Thank you for helping me get through 2025. Looks like 2026 will be more of the same. May the power of friendship save us. Hugs to all, eat your rice and beans. We must outlive these freaks. Yeah, well, at the very least, most people watching right now are likely to outlive Trump. So, you know, it's not all bad. We'll be alive to see some stuff. Yeah, Mute Kitty 22. I know this is an exceptionally like vain thing of me to say and to believe, but I will not ever get on a CPAP machine, even if I have what is it? Sleep apnea. Because what about my sleep aura? True. It's not happening. I saw a gastroenterologist. He put me on pantoprazole, which is dirt cheap and makes all my symptoms go away. Okay. Oh, pantoprazole. That's a PPI. I tried that before and it made me sick. Well, we'll see. Okay. VGG is like doctors but better because I'm actually getting paid to do this rather than losing money. Jizzy, thank you for the tier 2 sub. Really appreciate that. Thank you. NPC Porky, thank you for the tier 1 sub. I have not played Amnesia the Bunker, but I did watch Joseph Anderson play it. I've played other Amnesia games, though. Kowalski, thank you for the $5. Happy to hear I inspired the name of your latest YouTube video. You goddamn self-promoter. Miss Genderlyn, thank you for the gifted tier 1 sub to Annie. Really appreciate that. Hypothetical Hippo, thank you for the super, super kind $20 dono. The lib backlash against Luigi led me to find you. The first to actually make sense about it. I now call myself a proud leftist, all thanks to you. Happy New Year's, mate. Thank you. That's really, really, really kind of you. Yeah, it's been a wild year, man. Thank you, seriously. What lib backlash? I'm sure they mean like the liberals who wanted to hand-wring about how bad it was, rather than focus on the shady details of the case, or the fact that Brian Thompson's job was manufacturing death and suffering, which, like, you know, stuff like that. Thank you, I really appreciate that. Okay, I've got a bunch of links open now for, like, game recommendations and medicine and so on. All right, okay. Maybe it's a good thing I started doing the donos early today, huh? Let me read super chats. Humble Bumble, thank you for the super kind $10. Really appreciate that. Tommy Paquette, thank you for the $20. They're talking about oil because we buy that grade from Canada or Venezuela when we're negotiating with Canada soon, and you need crude to keep them running. I mean, we'll see if our oil companies even want to move into Venezuela, because right now they're saying they don't. Subcomandante, Scarlet Sins, thank you for the $2 both. Really appreciate that. Zoidamus, thank you for the super, super kind $10. And Black-Pilled Kiwi, thank you for the $5 New Zealand dollars. Millions of Dead Raccoons and Imer Flores, thank you for the $5 both. I really appreciate that. Excuse me. Chris with the $10. There might not be consequences from Europe, but won't the natural consequences bite us eventually if we do more regime change? It's hard and most countries can fight back better than Venezuela. Yes, like, keep in mind, nothing that America is doing right now, none of this, like, colonial bullshit, none of it is making us stronger. The most we might achieve is we enrich transnational oil barons, you know? We, like, now that companies are no longer moored to the countries that they're from and they just span the whole world, well, enriching our companies doesn't even enrich our own country, right? It used to be that way, right? It used to be like the India Trading Company or like the Rockefellers, American Enterprise. When our companies got richer, it did enrich America. I'm not saying that wealth trickled down, but the money that those you know, robber barons and colonial types made was related to the wealth of the country, but now it's not, like, at all. What relationship is there between the wealth of America and the wealth of, say, Tesla? It's like nothing. Like, Tesla doesn't fucking pay tax. Elon doesn't pay taxes. Like, where, in what way is the wealth translating? If anything, it's extractive. Like, the American companies take more from us than from other countries. So, yeah, it's not, things are still very much heading down. Ghost of Avalon and Captain Kokiri Kid, thank you for the $5 both. Really appreciate that. Emir Flores and Pale Magpie, thank you for the $2 and £2. Flop Bingus Republic and John Jeffrey, thank you for the $5 both. Really appreciate that. Everyone, if you're in college or going to college, physically write your notes and keep them if it's your major. I agree. I've kept a bunch of my old notebooks in large part because I doodled in them too. So, you know, nice memories. Got new notebook for New Year's and you're motivating me to write even more. Also been doing that back on the wall stretch. Appreciate you in this community. Dude, that stretch has single-handedly saved me from so many goddamn tension headaches so far. Hold on. Back against wall neck stretch. It's the easiest stretch in the world. It's so easy to do. It's so important, okay? It's so important. Here, I think I found...
A big cause of forward head posture comes from tight muscles that draw everything forward. Here's a really easy exercise that can quickly loosen things up. Put your whole backside flush against a wall or a door. Take 2 fingers, put them on your chin, do a slight chin tuck towards your chest, and now gently press your head into the door. You're going to hold this and then put your arms out in front of you, shoulder width apart, elbows bent at 90 degrees, fingers up towards the ceiling. Now reach upward towards the ceiling as
I do it with my elbows against the door. Like I'm doing like this, like absolute cinema. But you want your feet and your butt and your back and your head and all of you, like you want to flatten yourself against the door as much as you can, including lower back too, I think. Like you want to like really press yourself, like you're trying to straighten your spine basically. You want your entire spine to like be pressed straight, and you're doing like a reset. You're doing like a reset on your posture, and it really helps afterwards. You feel like a crick right here, like in the back of your neck, because you're so used to looking down like this on your phone. You're on the toilet, you know, you're taking a big shit and you're on Twitter or whatever. It's meant to correct for that. Yeah, pretend you're being fucking rolled over by a big what are they called? Not Zimbabwe's. Zamboni. Oh,
forward head.
This is the one I think I saw before. Yeah, I like this one.
Butt. Look familiar? Do this 5-minute routine.
When people
forward.
head, rounded shoulders, and a Donald Duck butt. Look familiar? Do this 5-minute routine daily and you'll fix this in no time.
Just show
Step 1. Loosen up your tight chest and shoulders by using a band, towel, or broomstick and doing over and backs. Narrow your grip over time for a deeper stretch. Step 2. To pull you upright, strengthen your weak mid-back muscles by standing against the wall and sliding your hands up and down. Engage your core to keep your low back flat and move your feet further from the wall to make it easier. Add in a chin nod each.
I don't move my feet further from the wall because I'm goated in the peak of human physical perfection. But, you know.
Rep will also strengthen your neck flexors to help pull your head back. Step 3.
It feels super good to do that.
To release your tight hip flexors, kneel down, engage your core, tilt your pelvis back, and then lean forward to deepen the stretch.
Also, fun fact, this stretch right here, this is how you prepare for a front split. You're stretching the muscles that you will use for a front split if ever you find if ever able, you know.
And step 4, strengthen your weakened glutes with glute bridges. Keep your back straight, squeeze your butt hard, and progress to single leg once you're ready. Screenshot this routine and get started today. Good luck.
No, I think these are good. I'm really feeling the stretch pill, you know. I'm really feeling it. Yoga's pretty amazing for that. Yeah, but yoga didn't really work with me. What really resonated with me was treating stretches like a strength exercise. So when you're doing the like the pike stance, right? Where you're like bending over to touch your toes, it's not like ooh ah. You're like forcing the maximum range of motion out of that movement, which is going to hurt, you know, a little bit. If you're doing it properly with proper form, it shouldn't hurt. It's like the hurt of a heavy lift where you feel like your muscles are being engaged heavily. But it's not like injurious. Straight coded, who cares? Yeah, well, it's not about, well, I mean, weightlifting is straight coded too. It's not, yoga is a good exercise. It's just, this engages me a little bit more. Anyway, Jay Nicole, thank you for the $5 and good luck with grad courses starting this week. Whew! Good luck with the suffering. Arjun M, thank you for the $2. Papug, thank you for the 10 PLN. Rescriptor and Exactly Right, thank you for the $2 both. Really appreciate those. Still Alive, thank you for the $5. What do you think of New Year's resolutions? Are they pointless or dumb, or do you approve of them? All promises that you make to yourself are dumb until you prove them true. Like, every promise is dumb until it's fulfilled. Whether you make them on New Year's Day, in the middle of the year, like at 3 a.m., one night after you're sick of it and you want to change, every promise you make is dumb until you fulfill it. And if you fulfill it, it wasn't dumb, no matter how it was made or when it was made or whatever else. Is there a reason that you don't stream on Twitch as well? Yeah, they permanently banned me for saying cracker, like about white people. I got the permanent ban revoked, but I don't really think that I'm cut out for the TOS guidelines of Twitch. Zianthi, thank you for the very kind $10. Listen to you every day during work. Thanks for keeping us informed and somewhat sane-ish. My pleasure. Likewise, you know. It helps me feel sane as well. It really does. And Isaiah Evans, thank you for the $10. Slightly off topic. How do you still have faith in electoralism? Any hope for this country is certainly lost. There is way too many people in this country to re-educate. Well, hold on. Everyone's always been retarded since forever, okay? Popular public movements have a tendency to overwrite the old way of thinking, you know? Like, think about the acceptance of interracial marriage from 1961 to 71. Or, no, you know what? 1991. Over a 30-year period, a ton of people who were alive during the civil rights movement, you know, people who would have not approved of interracial marriage before, like the numbers, they went up like crazy. Acceptance of gay marriage went like haywire. Over the course of like 20 years, people went from overwhelming disapproval to overwhelming acceptance. Look, people can change. It just doesn't feel like it sometimes. The real question to me about whether or not electoralism is going to be viable in the future as a mechanism for anything good is just, can we make a democracy that is not getting rat fucked by modernity and the bourgeoisie, you know? Lamy Safari fountain pen. I've heard recommendations for the Lamy Safari as well. I don't know if I would want a fountain pen, though. Well, wait, it's not like a feather pen, right? Oh, no, it is. Yeah, it's got like a nib and everything. I don't know if I would enjoy that very much. I have never tried it. I'd be willing to try it. I'd be willing to try it, like a proper fountain pen, you know, one that has like the ink. It has like the groove with the two metal prongs and stuff. I think so far I'm a gel pen guy. Of all the pen types that I've tried marker pens, I've tried ballpoint pens, I've tried I guess I don't know many types of pens, okay? But gel pens seem to be the ones I like more. Whatever. Okay. Yes. Not that expensive to give it a try. Well, I guess I could, you know, I could give it a shot. All right, folks. I'm going to head out. I'm going to try to be productive with my time today and get some house and work stuff done that I haven't touched on for a while. I'm also saying this publicly so you all can hold me accountable. Soon, I would like to do an emote clear out, by which I mean I would like for us to do a like voting round where we vote out the emotes that we care about the least, and we do like running polls to bring some new ones in. Though I have ultimate veto power because sometimes you guys, like, you just want every funny picture, you know? It doesn't have any use case. But by streamlining the... we'll make sure you forgot to do this to preserve community culture. No. Yeah, we need to have a greater degree of synchronicity here, okay? We need to feel ownership over the emotes. That's what I'm saying. Just keep TYT he, that's all I care about. I think that emote can be improved, but it's a pretty good one, yeah. That's a pretty good emote. Keep the pumpkin and turkey peppos. Well, those are seasonal, yeah. They're like seasonally necessary. At any rate, I'm only saying this to hold myself accountable. Now I can't forget because you'll fucking bother me about it. Everyone take care. Have a wonderful day. And I'll see you all soon, okay? I might not stream tomorrow because I have a D&D game on which I am behind on prep, and I don't mind taking a day off this week anyway. But if I'm not here tomorrow, then certainly I'll be here consistently for that point after. I'm not sure yet. Anyone or everyone, take care, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.